Found you. Hello.
Where can I send you?
I
Here.
think I have too many tabs
You
open.
are
It's a
being
problem.
sent. Get so sent. You got
I
sent
like
somewhere.
that.
Wow, that's crazy. I think you're crazy. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings right after you hurt my feelings.
My feelings are so hurt.
You're
Oh wait, I have
so
feelings.
hurt. I don't know what's happening.
Whoa!
What?
This is a place where messages come up. Oh, you went live. I
Your
didn't even know.
place where
LOL.
messages come up.
What is
Oh,
wrong with
it would be
you?
helpful if I pulled up the chat myself to be able to see what in the world is happening.
Wait. Okay. So how, Ethan? Ethan, what do I do?
What do? You read the
How do
chat
I?
when it happens.
No. How do I? Look
How
at
do
my
you?
channel. What is going on? Why is my computer being slow?
What are you asking exactly? Oh, you mean you go to your channel and then you look at your things and if you're in the content creator mode, here, I will demonstrate. Go to your studio, YouTube studio thing, and then you go to your live and then you should see the thing that you're currently live with and you can edit it and oh, apparently the thumbnail that it automatically assigns is just my channel banner. That's what I put as my default because that's I'm dumb, I guess. Good to know. I didn't actually know that. So yeah, if you want to change it, now is the
Even
time.
is it even working on my channel? Why is my
Uh,
computer being slow?
I would hope so. Let me check out your channel. I'll see if I can find it. Mikaela. Oh, live googling McKay. What will we get? I forgot you changed your name to Mikay.
Okay, yeah, I'm
It's
here.
here.
Oh, and it just chose a thumbnail of us. Wait, what do you see for the
I see
thumbnail?
dank memes.
Oh, that's interesting.
It is
Wait, so why
something.
was it not letting me change it?
Ah. Hello, Stella Nightstar and Ray LaHood. Welcome to the stream. I hope
Hello.
you guys are having a good one. So, as you might be able to tell from the title, depending on which platform you're on, if you're on Twitch, this might be the last time that I stream on Twitch, at least for a while, because of four reasons, which I guess I'm too lazy to read here. So let me just give you a chance to read where, uh, uh, yes, okay, asked. She looks like me and I look like her. Don't question that. We're stupid. I
I
don't know
confused
why we.
myself with that.
I did too. Maybe we should switch to ourselves. Are
You know what?
you doing it? You should send me that picture
No,
there
I'm
because I don't
still
know if
I'm
I
still
can
trying to
have it.
freaking figure this out. EA.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stress you out. Too many assignments. Anyway, so because YouTube
How
or
do I
Twitch
even?
is changing their policies, I can't keep doing this multi-stream thing where I stream on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. I can't keep doing that anymore because Twitch is saying, no, you can't do that. You can only be on our platform. And I'm like, bruh, well, what a jerk. Fine, I'm not going to do it not on your platform. That's the platform I'll choose. And also, I don't have to hit an extra button to export it from Twitch to YouTube once I've finished the stream. That's one less step for me. If I've streamed it on YouTube anyway, then I'll just have the VOD already on YouTube, and I can just put it in the playlist of past live streams. By the way, if you didn't know, there is a whole playlist of past live streams on my channel. Uh, so if you go to my channel, which if you're on Twitch, you should go check it out because, you know, I might not be streaming on Twitch anymore. So you should go to my channel and subscribe and all that good stuff. Look at me totally being a YouTuber, even though I haven't cared in years and my subscriber count has not gone up in years. Um, but there's a playlist called Past Live Streams, and every time I complete a stream, I make it an unlisted video so it doesn't bother the people who are only looking at my channel when they see a new video go public. But you can still view all the past live streams, and they're all dated most of the time of when we streamed them, and we do all kinds of crazy stuff. But yeah, it's been a while since McKay and I streamed. We used to do it like every single Friday for like years, but then we kind of got burnt out for a while and stopped doing it for a bit. But now maybe we're back. Maybe. We will see. Currently, we are live on both McKay's channel and my channel, and or like my YouTube channel and my Twitch channel, trying to get people to come on over to YouTube, just to like give everyone a chance to get the information that hey yo, not doing Twitch as much these days. But we're maybe going to start streaming YouTube again, and maybe even do this thing where we stream on both channels at once so that we can get all the viewers involved, because McKay's got more viewers and it is a wider spreading notification audience thing. Know what I mean? Do you have anything to add, McKay? I'm just making a fool of myself the more I open my mouth.
I was trying to look for a picture of us to use as the thumbnail, but it's hard
That is a good idea.
because I'm scared. I don't like that I couldn't pick one in advance.
Hmm.
There's the ones we took when you were here and we streamed. All of them are pretty bad. But there's like this one.
I'm pretty bad. Oh, I'm so
I'm gonna
sorry.
airdrop it to myself.
Why
I'm
is
sorry
everything we do so jank?
now. Because you sir did not even tell me when you started streaming, so take that.
I'm sorry. I thought it would be funnier to capture you saying mean things to me and me pretending to be sad about it.
What did I even say? I don't
I
even
don't
remember.
remember
Where
either.
did you go?
I don't know, but you're sounding a little robot-y. I don't know if that's my end or your end. Could be mine because I'm streaming now. Isla says, I forgot I'm mod here. Hi. Hello, welcome. And Stella Nightstar does not burp. That was me. I'm sorry. I did not mean to put burps in your mouth. Oh, that's a horrible image. I'm sorry I said that. This is the best kind of live stream. Yes, just talking and vibing and figuring it out. Hello, Dream Madram. I'm gonna beatbox and I'm gonna die. I'm sorry. I can't say your name very well, but welcome to the stream. Hello, Parker M. Hello, Pengu. McKay vanished. Yes. Oh, look at that lovely painting behind McKay. Easter egg for those who are scholars of our channels. Anyway, so as you might be able to tell from the title of this live stream, today we're going to be reading another story that I wrote. It is a more modern one, so it might not be, I hope it won't be as cringy as the 11-year-old one, even though that one was just fantastic, and you should totally go check out the...
Hello.
Hello, what's up?
Do I sound better now?
You sound a little better audio quality.
Okay, I'm gonna cry.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't think it was microphone related. I think it was just straight up internet related when that happened
Boy,
earlier.
my computer is whirring, so I thought it would be that.
Oh, well, in that case it could be. Do you have like a lot of other programs open on your computer right now?
No, my computer doesn't like me and it wants to stress me out. I'm already stressed out.
Okay, I'm sorry. There is no pressure
I
here.
am
You just have to
stressed
sit there and
out.
look pretty. Ah, I see what you've
No,
done
I
there.
don't. I have to find the thumbnail that I airdropped myself and I haven't the chat at all and I'm so scared, Ian. You even understand the distress I am in.
I, I, yes, no, I don't know. What's the proper answer here?
Ethan, oh, I found it. Okay.
Yes, that is the EJ room background painting. McKay has moved into my old room after I'm sorry. McKay moved into my...
Ethan,
What?
why is it opening GIMP? Why?
When you tried to open the image? That I cannot answer for you. That's odd.
Yes. Why is this happening?
I don't know. Oh, here's... So there's a series of streams where we read the story that I wrote when I was 16. We got through about 5 parts of that. So this stream will probably be part 1 of several. I don't think we'll get through the whole story today. There's also a series of me reading... Let's see, where is it? How long ago was it that we read the... Ah, there it is. The terrible novel that I wrote when I was 11. And we took like 9 parts to read through that. Called it Super EJ because it was so Mary Sue cringe. And yeah, we did that for quite a while. So if you want to go and check out the EJ's writing streams, you can check out the evolution of my writing as I got better at writing. But this one should be a little different than the past 2 that we read through. Are you okay, sis? You just have a face of fear.
Ethan, I don't too.
You cut out
Ethan,
hardcore
help
there.
me. Help me. Lama, nobody is helping me.
How do I
What's
help
going
you?
on?
I'm like 9 states away. What a... Oh my goodness.
Ethan, why is my computer being so slow? I'm not even streaming anything.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
It took
Have you tried
8,100,000,000
restarting
years
it?
to convert this one picture into a JPEG. I'm gonna cry.
Have you like
I'm sorry to
opened up
everyone in the chat for
8
witnessing my mental
viruses?
breakdown, but I can't do this. Ethan, I'm gonna kill someone.
EJ only has 2 legs? I would hope so.
Only two?
I what I don't know why I would ever want more than 2 legs. I'm a little concerned about that. Hearing people struggle to pronounce my name is my greatest joy. That's great. Am I
Okay, I
late?
finally.
Oh, late. I thought he was saying 18 at first. I saw like one that was really skinny.
Are you though? Okay, Ethan. Okay, we're almost there.
Okay, I'm
Okay, are you ready?
okaying.
We're almost
Okay,
there.
I'm trying to catch up with the chat. Hello, Eric Roman. Welcome
All
to the
we
chat.
all we have to do
What are we?
is
Okay.
put the link in my Discord, and then I can finally stop panicking.
Oh boy, I'm excited. Let's stop
My
panicking.
computer is being so slow. I feel like I need to close more tabs, but like, I need them. And there's not that many. There's like 10.
Hmm. Can you, if you really need to, is it possible to like use your phone mount, little like leggy mounty thing and hold your phone and like just video call with your phone?
I don't want to.
Okay. I mean, you sound stable right now, so whatever your computer was trying to commit seppuku upon itself about earlier has stopped. That's a good sign.
Stop! I'm streaming.
Ah!
Did it stop? Okay. Sorry, my computer. Well, it didn't stop. What are you doing?
Reboot it.
I'm gonna kill
Turn
you.
it off and on
I'm gonna
again.
kill
Classic
you.
tech support.
I'm gonna kill you.
Don't kill me. I would prefer not to die.
You.
Oh, okay.
Not you.
As long as we're not talking about
Okay.
me.
Now I'm gonna put this in announcements, and then I can finally be okay again.
Only 2? What happened to the others? How many legs did I have? Are we talking about the Cutipus days? That's really old.
That is, and I never was
Pengu,
fully
how?
even there
Teach
for
me
that.
your ways. Only 2 to 3 tabs open at one time?
Girl, you're
That
wild.
email, calendar, text messages. That's like the bare minimum for me. And then I have to have all the other things that I'm researching currently and the other things that I'm doing for like, you know, D&D campaign research and, you know, work stuff and all these things. So I always have at least like 50 tabs open and I wish I could close them, but I'm still working on them. And then I have my ones that I'm actively using, which is like 10 more. And that's just like on my personal computer. On my work computer, I've got easily 300 open right now, and they're all grouped into little sections, and it's still just so many that it can't even fit on the screen. Yeah, I have a problem.
Wait, now, how do I... What?
My room is kind of nice and organized in my physical space, but in my digital space, I really need help.
Ethan, is there a way to pop out this chat?
Yes. Wait,
How?
the chat itself?
Yes. Because I don't know how to look at Discord and the chat properly. I mean, I guess I can do this, but it's not very good.
This question confuses me. Let's see.
And does the chat just keeps disappearing after a while? Is that okay?
Okay. Here, maybe there's a better way to show this then.
Okay, the title's gonna confuse people. Maybe I need to change this.
I could give you my login information to the thingy and you could view it in it. I don't know the best way to do this, honestly. Let's see.
Use the web browser form of Discord? What? Crazy.
Okay, what if I lag everything for a second?
That sounds great.
I'm glad you understand me. That doesn't seem like it's gonna quite work, does it? What about that? We'll do that. Oh no. Oh
What did
no.
you do?
Nothing. I've done nothing. Uh,
Whoa.
holy heck, holy heck, holy heck. Everything's fine, everything's fine. Calm down.
Are you sure?
My computer's having a rough time. There we go. We're back to
So is
normal.
mine, dude.
Everything's fine. Can you
So are you
see?
wanting me to look at that?
I mean, if you want to look at that, that's how I'm looking at the chat.
How do I do this? I'm stuck. I'm Bucky Stucky.
We're having a rough time. It's okay. We're professional live
This is,
streamers.
oh no! Sorry. Good.
I love just how chaotic everything has gotten. The stress levels like
Because
incremental.
you started the stream before anyone was ready.
We were like 95% ready, and then I was like, okay.
Clearly not. I'm
I'm
crooked now, but it's okay.
Hello,
Let me
Madison
see,
Newell.
can
How's
I
it going?
fix
Welcome to
this?
the stream. Sorry I didn't see your earlier message. I saw it, but then I didn't get a chance to read it. Wow, the chat's going by fast. Me, K, and EJ. Yep. Rip McKay's computer. I have over 100, bro. Nice. Kindred spirits.
Yeah, that's kind of small for me.
My burps come quickly because I only have 2 legs?
What?
What kind of do I like store them in my legs and I run out of storage space because like I don't have enough legs for it, or is it because I only have 2 feet and the distance is what are we trying to communicate here, huh? Hello, Stormfroggo. How are you? Long time no see. You've been busy job searching. Cool. Well, yeah, good to see you. I hope your job search goes well. I know the struggle on that. Hello,
Okay, so
Stella.
the chat is kind of small on your live stream, so I don't know if that's gonna work, so I just will
Okay.
suffer, I guess.
Okay, well, I mean, there is another way. I can give you my login information to Restream, and you can see it on the website itself. I don't know of a good, secure way to do that, but I'll go ahead and do that from my laptop. Samwise says, I have 0 tabs open at all times because I don't have a computer. How are you watching us?
There you go.
My poor computer dies inside. Scuffed stream is best stream. My computer lags at 1 tab. Oof. Hello, Jate. He says, me, K, how are you? Will this VOD be saved? Yes, it should. So don't say any swear words that are gonna be popping up and stay eternally in the VOD.
Skip high in transit.
Wow.
I did it.
It's not even apparently the correct origin of it. I've spread lies to everyone, I'm sorry. Hey Seb, welcome. I'm trying desperately to keep up with the chat. I guess you'll have to keep up with it in a second.
Literally, okay.
Well, I'm giving you the chat, so you gotta keep up with this fly-by fast chat while I'm giving you the permanent chat. Know what I mean? Jelly beans?
Sure, I guess.
Hey, my heck. Sorry, I don't know why I said that.
The Silver Star says, in the You're My Sibling behind the scenes video, you explained the connection between legs and burps. Maybe it was poots. See, our viewers remember more of what we said than we do, because I don't remember that at all.
I don't even remember what happened in the recording we did like last week. I can't remember what happened in a video from like 8 years ago. Shroomy apparently can. I don't.
Silver was remembering all kinds of things that she said in the recording, and I was like,
goodness.
how do you remember that? Okay.
Man.
I mean, we definitely don't have a video with Silver, what?
If I ever run for like president someday, people are gonna find all these clips of things and I'm gonna have no idea if it was like AI generated with my voice or if I actually said something completely ridiculous out of context and is being like used against me, and I'll be like, I don't remember saying that. Maybe I did say something horrible. I don't know. Because I say all kinds of terrible things, but they're all in the context of a joke that no one would ever take seriously, right? So, I mean, jokes are fine. You can joke about really anything, in my opinion, as long as, you know, you do it with the right tone of voice. But, yeah, the world doesn't see it that way. They cancel you for anything these days, so they're no fun. The world's not fun anymore. Let's see. How in the world do I do things properly? That would be useful to know.
Silver got excited on Discord because she thought I meant a story that I wrote because the title was the same one that you put.
Oh, yeah. I meant for you to edit that, but
I did now.
Nice, perfect.
But within the chaos, I could not get to it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's not one that I wrote, but You know, I do have some stories. Maybe sometime. I don't know. It's a little cringe.
Whoa! Oh yeah, I forgot you do. Yeah.
But the thing is, I never got very far in mine. So like my little fan fictions are like 2 pages, and then I gave up.
Mhm.
So, but I mean, it still could be cringe, I guess. I don't know.
Let's see.
I am stuck. Oh no, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Let's see here.
We need to start a champagne. First of all, what does that mean? Um. Oh, I vaguely remember that Shira slash TDP fic about Kyle. That one
Ah, yes, that
was
one.
beautiful. We
Mhm.
should
You
we
should.
could look back on that one someday.
Yeah, yeah. If it
Because
still
that one, like,
exists.
it didn't have to be that good because it was a joke, but then it unironically was kind of good in some parts.
Mhm.
So, yeah. But I was talking about, like, my fan fictions from when I was, like, 13 or, like, even, like, 16. Yikes. Um, those ones were kind of cringe. Jade says, did y'all see the live action Avatar trailer and costumes? I did not know that was a thing, so no, I did not. What up,
Maybe it would
Jared?
be easier if I just currently change the settings so that they don't disappear. I don't know.
Maybe you're a setting.
Hey! You're right. Alright, well, here's this. And
Oh,
do you know the website for Restream?
no. Restream.io
Yep,
something.
that's it.
Okay. See if I can get there. Restreamio.
Yup. Don't change any crazy settings. Don't get
I'm
me
going
hacked
to
by your
change
really
all
slow
of
computer.
them. I'm hacking you right now.
Why is my water bottle leaking from the crack between it? How frickin' dare.
Wait, so am I putting your normal email and then is this the password?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I spilled like
What's
a
your email? I
billion
kind of know
wild
it, I think.
waters on
I
me.
hope I know it. So you can stop sharing your screen on Discord.
I'm busy.
You're
Yurt. Well,
No, I don't
dare
want to
you.
continue as Michaela. Stop that.
My
Oh wait,
legs
what?
are cold and wet now. I'm sad. This has made me
I'm really
upset.
bad at this, Ethan.
Why are
I'm
you bad
getting there.
at this? Did you copy it at
I'm
least?
getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Did you copy it?
Yes.
Good. I'm deleting it now. There's no trace that I
You're
ever sent
deleting it
anything.
now.
You can't say such things to me. I know you just did, but that's rude. Cool. Anyway, we've procrastinated a
Literally, what
long
is
time.
going
I
on?
hope everyone's here who's going to be here. Silver says to... Wait, what? There's some context I'm missing. Talking about Avatar, the Blue People, or Avatar the Last Airbender, Hackerman. Gui J forever? Who is Gui?
Oh?
Gwen? I think they're shipping me with someone, but I have no idea anyone whose name starts
Weejay.
with Gui.
Is it... Was there a girl named Gwen in your story, or did I make that up?
Uh, you're
Was
right.
there?
I think
I think
so.
there was.
Oh no.
I really don't know, actually.
Was she
How
the
do I get
abusive
the
one,
actual...
or was that the other one? I don't remember. I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. Stella
How
says,
do
y'all
I...
finish your stories. Me and my brother start 3 a day, then another 3 the next day, and never get them done. Oh, well, you're going to be happy about this story, because as opposed to the last 2 that we read from when I was 11 and from when I was 16, this story I actually finished. So, we have an ending to look forward to on this one. Hydrate. I just did, Pengu. All over the place. And
EA,
Gwen
where's the
times
chat?
EJ
How do
from
I
the
get
time
there?
travel. What? I don't
How do
know.
I get to the actual chat?
Just click around. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm scared.
I don't know how to
Open my
get
eyes and
there. I'm
everything.
sure you can find it. She was the abusive one! Well, then why are you shipping with her? Okay.
I'm so confused.
Did y'all see the live action Avatar trailer and costumes? No, I have not. I didn't know that was out yet. Although, at this point, I have very low expectations for anything that Hollywood is creating, So, especially a live action version of a thing that is already existing, like, why are they making things that already exist? Stop it. Stop remaking and ruining things. I don't know. So I don't want to have hope for anything anymore. I have a wall built around my heart, and I'm like, leave me alone. If it happens to be good, cool. My expectations are already in the ground, so I can only be pleasantly surprised. Clapping noises are for anyone who is drinking water or has drank water. You know, I think that would qualify for 99% of the human race. People
So
will ship 2 leaves
confused.
together. People will ship anything. Oh my gosh. 2 leaves. Yeah, I mean,
I
we've
think
shipped
I
many
kind of
higher
see the
things
chat,
than
but I have
drinks.
no idea how to pop it out.
Uh,
How do you have a big chat? I don't have a big chat.
because I have an app installed.
Well, you're a boy.
Uh, okay. Would you like me to
Okay.
share screen again?
No, I don't.
Okay, I can only do so much. Do you want me to give you? I'm sure you can find the thing and download the app for yourself if you would like to see it the same way that I see it.
Do you
But
have it on? Is there a phone app?
no, it's on my computer. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there is a phone app. I don't know. Why is this my problem?
I missed the part where. Oh wait, no. Maybe this will work. Maybe it will be better if it's here.
Oh dear. Whoa, gotta love working. Very fun. You painted a lightsaber today? That is the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Okay, I think I figured it out. Maybe.
I had some art project stuff today as well, and yesterday, and unfortunately, some of it went absolutely terribly, horribly wrong in a kind of entertaining way. And I guess now I gotta get some pictures and talk about it a little bit, don't I? 1 second. Let me see if I can grab these pictures.
Tango says, I ate chicken nuggets. Actually, chimkin nuggies. Well, that sounds good. I did not eat that. I just had regular chicken because I'm boring. Okay, I think that I'm okay now, guys. Don't freak out,
I don't. Yeah.
because I know you were freaking out.
Yep. I was freaking out so much. You can't believe how much I was freaking out.
I'm so sorry for being like not here for like the past 20 minutes, viewers, but I have been really struggling, but I think I'm okay now, maybe.
Holy bananas. Okay.
Jade says I might clean my room while I listen to y'all. That is so productive of you. I'm proud.
Okay. I'm gonna have to find some older pictures first. I don't know what pictures I've taken of sensitive documents and other important stuff, so I shouldn't like just scroll through my entire image history. It's probably gonna be fine, but you know, there's always the chance that I took a picture of something sensitive that I would not desire to be shown. I
The
can't
Silver
see
Star says,
anything.
I am not lying when I say that I've written a fanfiction shipping General Grievous and Bounty Hunter Fennec Shand. It's my
Why?
sister's phone. Well, someone wrote a brief fanfiction about EJ and Remy, so
Did they? Oh my gosh.
yeah, someone did. A couple people
Wow.
worked together on it. I remember it. It wasn't very long, but it happened.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Okay. Do-do. Do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do. Do.
The
Man,
chat is saying things, but I don't know what they're saying. What does
oh,
crack ships mean?
crack ships? I don't
Is
know.
that ships that transport crack?
I would assume so. The other
My favorite.
alternative is more concerning.
Ships with cracks.
Sure. Uh,
More wiggle.
what have I done?
What have you done?
I don't know. I can't find these pictures that I was searching for. Gosh hecking darn it. What the devil is this?
What the devil is going on here?
Okay, I guess we'll just do 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 do
like a ship that's a joke.
Like all
That
of them.
reminds me of that Jackbox game that I can't remember the name of.
Okay.
Remember Wayne World? I don't know what Wayne World is. Hashtag my love Vanessa Hudgens. Ethan doesn't know who Vanessa Hudgens is.
Nope.
It's your garbage wife.
What should I call this? Sure. Okay. I've created a playlist thing, album, whatever they're called. Where is it?
Stromfrong,
Why does
thank
it
you
not
for
exist yet?
coming.
There it is. Okay. Where is the story beginning? Aha. So, why is that so incredibly small? Well, it's really, really small for some reason. This image might be better. Nope, it's still also small. Yay.
Silver says, wait, hang on, I thought this was a YouTube video. I had no idea this was a stream, lol. We're just
Yes,
talking to you through
this is
YouTube.
live. We're currently speaking to you. We can react to your words. Bye, Strumbrung. See ya.
Bye.
So I don't know why I can't zoom in more on this. That's upsetting. Maybe it'll like catch up and we'll be able to like view it better soon.
What are we looking at?
Okay, I mentioned that I was doing a creative thing, and then I said there's a story behind it, but now I have to talk about it, and so I pulled these images up. So I had, when I moved down to North Carolina, I was like packing up all the items that I had. Did I say moving? When I was leaving North Carolina and coming down to Florida, I was packing up all of my items to move down with, and in the process of doing so, I discovered that I had way too many art supplies. I had like a billion crayons, I had a billion markers, I had a billion pencils and colored pencils and stuff that I had never used, just like gathering them from childhood. And I was like, well, what am I going to do with all of these crayons? I've got an idea. Rather than just like give them to Goodwill or throw them away or burn them or something, what if I use them incorrectly for an art project? So I first got some uh, first got some little like frames from Goodwill, and I made like I just got a heat gun and kind of melted them a little bit and made some really cool yeah, hey there, some really cool little like fruits of the spirit kind of art pieces by like melting the crayons and kind of spreading their goopy melted remains around, and then made all kinds of little like neat swirly patterns. Can I rotate this, please? Beautiful. So you can see I've got one for red, orange, yellow, blue, green, indigo, violet, and then orange and brown, or brown and pink, and black and white for each of the fruits of the spirit. Turned out really cool. They're a little hard to see because apparently quality and pixels are just not available on my computer, but they turned out really nice, and I made a bunch of little like small ones, and I learned some important lessons from that because some of them, like the wax was so thick that once it started to cool, it would like curl in on itself and crack and make all kinds of weird problems. But I learned some lessons from making these first ones, but I had a bunch of crayons left because I had so many, like filling up an entire box this size, and I wanted to use all of them to make this project, but turns out I didn't use up enough, so I just had a billion more that I was like, okay, well, now I either have to get rid of these crayons or use them for something else. So I decided I'd make another, much bigger art project. So someone was giving away like a huge frame, like picture frame type thing that was like 3 feet by 4 feet by whatever. And they weren't using the frame or the cardboard inside anymore. So I figured, hey, I'll just take the rest of my crayons, just all of them, and I'll lay them out with like black around the edges and bright colors in the middle and kind of like make it look like a neat little galaxy, and then melt it all together and it'll make some swirling nebulas. It'll look really cool and spacey and it'll be really fancy. So I had a friend help me. It gets smaller when I click it. It's better to just look at it here. If I click it, it gets really tiny for some reason. The quality's awful. Anyway, I had a friend come over just to hang out and help me keep it level, because when I start to melt it, if it's like unlevel at all the colors just kind of flow to one side and form a horrible brown goop. So I was hoping that having someone else there to help me like balance it out would be helpful. Anyway, we started melting, and it was looking pretty cool about halfway through, but then it was like some of the colors take longer to melt than the others. So as I was blasting some of these colors with a heat gun, they were not melting. Meanwhile, everything around it was just becoming boiling soup, and I was like, why is this one not melting? Because I was trying to like make it a nice, even, smooth surface, so I didn't want large bumps from unmelted crayons still sticking out of it. But it caused me to overheat other parts of it, and they began mixing with everything, and it became a brown sludge that took over like half of the entire piece. And then it started to like crack as it was cooling, and I was like, oh no, this is a big problem. And then it just like kind of began to explode, and yeah, it didn't look as good as I wanted it to. Look at this brown just covering lots of it, and I was like, okay, well, it's okay. It is what it is. But then after it was cracking so much, I decided, what happens if we kind of like peel it back a little bit and look at what's on the other side? And it turned out, oh, this is actually a decent picture of it. It doesn't look too bad. But since it was cracking and kind of peeling off the frame anyway, I figured I would look at what's underneath there, because it was like an inch off of the cardboard. And what I saw underneath was actually pretty cool. So we peeled off all the pieces and looked at what they looked like on the other side. And as you can see here, it looks pretty cool on the other side. No like brown sludge or mess. It was all kind of nice, and you could still see some of the color differentiation. There was still nice swirl patterns through a lot of it, and it looked really interesting. So we were like, okay, we'll take these pieces instead, and we'll lay them out like a mosaic, and just in random places, and it'll still look kind of cool and swirly like nebulas or whatever. It'll just be an entirely different piece. Embrace the imperfections. That's what makes life beautiful. So we kind of started putting it together. Then we realized, oh wait, we can actually reconstruct the entire thing, and we found out it looked way better to actually put them the way they should have been, like fitting together the puzzle pieces in the way that they, originally were, because it looks, I don't know, it just looks really cool to have these cracks kind of spanning with a little bit of black space between the colors that go right next to each other. It looked really neat. So we decided to put it together like this instead, and finally got it most of the way together. Looked pretty cool. This is the final thing, and then we started super gluing pieces down. We did a little bit of melting here and there, some paint to touch up the edges and the mess that we had created. And it looked pretty good. Then I I was like putting it into the actual frame again, and the glue failed and half of it broke off and smashed into pieces, so I had to put it back together, and I was like, oh no. And at that point my friend was just like, why are we still here just to suffer? So I let them go home while I finished it up, and I put it in the frame, managed to get it there successfully, and it all looked fine. Everything was good. We were good to go. It was complete. Then, because my friend, I didn't have any room to put it anywhere, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it. Maybe just put it on the wall. I don't know. But I let my friend have it, and they said that they had a wall they wanted to put it on. So today, I gave it to them at lunch, and we put it in her car. And she was like, "Oh, do you think it'll be fine in the car at this point?" And I'm like, that's a good point. But given how much we had to blast it with the heat gun, I think it'll probably be fine. Like, if you just keep the windows cracked so that the heat can escape and it doesn't like build up past 110 or 140 degrees or something, I don't think it'll melt. I think it'll be fine. Famous last words. So 4 hours later she came back, and let's see if I had downloaded that picture. So she just texted me, "Oh no," and I was like, "Oh no, don't tell me it melted." And then she just sent a picture. It says, "Oh man, oh man, oh man, whoops, it has been reborn again." And this is all I've seen of it. I don't know if there are other like I can't see the full angle of it, but you can tell it's just kind of like melted down the side and kind of slid down. And I was like, oh no, she's gonna have a huge puddle of melted wax in her carpet of her car. I'm so sorry. I talked her out of it. This is my bad. I'll pay for the new carpet or whatever. But luckily, it turns out it didn't leak that much out the bottom. It just kind of like, and it looks kind of cool actually. So you know, failure and rebirth, and failure and rebirth, and you know that's the creative process. You work with what you've got, and now it's finished slash untitled underscore number two reborn again final part two, for real this time, and now it's a pretty neat thing. I'll send you guys a picture if I get the a better front on view of what it looks like in the end, but it looks pretty cool from right here, and it's more interesting than I ever could have predicted. And what do you know? It ended up back in the original format of melted instead of uh, the broken and reformed. Yeah. Anyway, that's my
Time is
story.
home to say hi, Harry.
And look, it didn't even stain the floor that much, which is great. It could have dripped a lot more, but it didn't, so that's great.
True.
Anyway, that's my story for the day. Sorry to delay for so long from the actual point of the stream. Hi, Harry.
Life gives you lemons.
Yep. By the way, Harry, I'm probably not going to be streaming on Twitch
Oh,
anymore. What?
I just forgot that I entirely forgot that I made coffee because I was so stressed out. I have
Oh,
coffee here. It's
nice.
okay. It was being kept warm, I hope.
Yes, by your sheer stress and fury.
It's not. I need it to be like boiling hot in order to like it, but it's not. But it's okay. I'll deal with
Hmm.
it.
Just get angrier. Put it on your forehead.
Silver says, "OMG, please title it Crayon Soup 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 Soup."
I don't think we have a title for it yet, but
Now
so
you do.
yeah, I think we talked about in the process. We were like, don't worry about it. There's no such thing as mistake. It's just happy little accidents, like Bob Ross. And we were like, okay, so imperfections are what make it beautiful. So something like that, something abstract, beautiful imperfections, or like melted nebula.
Yeah,
I don't know,
call
something
it
interesting like that.
beautiful imperfections, but spell it really wrong.
Yeah, as SOUP 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 SOUP.
Exactly.
Soup 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 soup.
Pretty
Anyway,
coffee cup. Thank you. Look, it's Harry Poppins.
what? Yeah, yeah, Harry, we're moving off Twitch. I'm because Twitch is changing their policies. I'm no longer going to be able to stream on Twitch and YouTube. And currently, I'm streaming on McKay's YouTube as well. So we're on McKay's channel, my channel, and then Twitch as well. So we won't be able to do that anymore once Twitch just changes their policies in like 4 or 5 days. So we have to make a choice, either Twitch or YouTube. And I decided, I don't really care. But there's a couple reasons why Twitch is kind of worse. So I'm going with YouTube. Maybe I'll change my mind someday, but yeah, wanted to let everyone know by doing one more stream on Twitch. Like, hey, come over, visit YouTube if you can. I guess McKay and I might start doing this where we stream on both channels for a bit, and we're gonna try to start doing more streams again because we've been out of the habit for a while, but we are no longer as burnt out and we're ready to give it a try again. Anyway, should we get to the point of actually what the title says we're gonna do?
Yes, but I'm scared that pulling up the story is well, no, I guess it'll be okay. Because I was gonna be like, if I have to have another tab and
No,
more
no, no,
things,
it's
I'm gonna
fine. I
cry.
I can read it unless you want. Do you want to do voices again? How did
Well,
we do it in the past?
I guess we did. We like switched
Oh
off
yeah,
paragraphs and we
that's
did
true. That's
voices
true.
and stuff. But could you just like send me the link so I can pull it up on a tab or something so that I don't have to like you don't have to stream it to me or anything?
Sure. Let's see here. How do I search Twitter again? Is that possible to do anymore? I do not want to explore. I would like to search. What the frick? How does one search Twitter?
Dram. I'm sorry if
Ugh,
I'm mispronouncing your name, but they
vomit.
say soup, 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 but it's pronounced beautiful imperfections.
I stopped I stopped using Twitter a while ago, so I'm not familiar with all their.
Yeah, everyone hates Twitter because it's bad,
Well,
and I don't use it either.
I started hating it years ago before Elon bought it, so I'm just a hipster. I'm too cool.
I don't think that's the reason people hate it, is it?
Well,
Oh, they just hate
these
it's
days the people who
toxic.
were using. Well, yeah, it was toxic before 3 years ago. That's why I got off it. But now the people who were toxic and were on it, now they're saying it's toxic and they're like angry at it because now it's leaning right wing instead of leaning left wing. So politics aside, it's terrible no matter what. But yeah, people are angry about it for all kinds of reasons. Anyway, I was trying to find the history of
Oh,
like
what's the history?
when I
Hi, Seb.
posted the thingy
We're
thingy.
gonna read Ethan's furry fan fiction.
Oh my gosh, why would you say that? Right at the beginning too, now everyone's primed to think that without even knowing anything about this.
I'm sorry, it just kind of came
Oh
out.
my gosh. Great.
Seb says furry fan fiction sounds like cringe.
No, it's not Remy, I swear.
You
uh,
had to put it that way, okay?
I know, right?
Okay, fine. It's Ethan's D&D character who happens to be reptilian and his wife and how they met and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
not furry fan fiction, just self-insert dragon
It's too
people.
late. You've made it scarily related. So anyway, I was trying to look up the tweet because like back in 2019 or something when we were doing the Paladins D&D, that was run by my friend Stu, based on the Paladins
It's
game
Stu.
universe. Yeah. Uh, just before my D&D character had a tragic death, like literally 1 week before or 6 days before my character died, I was like, "Oh, I had an idea. Let me write a backstory for my character." So I started to like write this little like novel backstory type thing about how he and his wife met or something. And then my character freaking died. I'm like, "Oh, well, at least I started this story before like this happened, so it doesn't feel like I'm just like really sore about it and like, oh, I'm gonna make sure my character still gets his day in the light. I did start it before all that. I'm not just butthurt that my character died, and hopefully we'll be able to finish that campaign someday. Cough cough. 3 or 4 years later, 5 years, 4 years later, it still hasn't happened. Maybe someday. But anyway, so yeah, I started writing a backstory type little sub story about my D&D characters because I liked them and they were fun and I don't know, I just wanted to explore more about that universe. So even though technically the world is plagiarizing something, but I didn't really like take too much of the
It was a fan
plagiaristic.
fiction.
Feel free to write fan fictions. So more or less, yes, this is a furry fanfic, and I'm just
I
the
was
more
right.
the more we talk about it, now it's just so terrible. But I'm still saying that my 11-year-old story that I wrote when I was 11, that's probably way worse, way more cringe than this. This is just, I had a D&D character who happens to be a dragonborn who I enjoyed playing because I put a lot of like my own heart and soul into it. He was a good man. He was like a good father figure. So I just enjoyed playing him. He was like it was like the chance to aspire to be something that I wasn't yet. Like McKay's always trying to make stories or role plays about being a mother and all that. So, just
I do that every single time. I have a problem and it's called I want babies.
yeah. So this story doesn't actually get that far into it. It's just like how Malthus and Saphira. My character's name was Malthus in the Dungeons and Dragons that I was playing, and his wife's name is Saphira. But the story is told from Saphira's perspective. Why? I don't know. I just felt like it. But what's different about the story in comparison to the last two that we wrote? When I wrote the first one when I was 11, the point of view of how to write the story was basically just, "Oh, if I have an idea, I should include it. No matter how crazy it is, just include everything. Everything must go in this story. If I have it, it's a great idea. Shove it in there somehow. It doesn't matter if there's magic systems and also sci-fi and also, craziness. Just include it all. It'll somehow work out. Are you confused? Good. There's two more
Good.
books in the trilogy to explain it." Yeah, it was terrible. That
Oh boy.
no restraint was shown. The next book that I started writing, the one when I was 16, that was just written from a place of like entering depression, and I was like, edgy, and the point was like I had a plan of how I wanted the overall story arc to go, and then I was fleshing it out. So that was probably the best way to write a story, just like having a plan and starting to kind of construct it to make a good cohesive narrative. Obviously, I didn't finish it, but it was, a better framework of how to write a story. I learned from my mistakes, hopefully. This one, however, is an entirely different type of story. I didn't write it with necessarily a plan of where I wanted it to go. More or less what I did was I experimented because it was written based off D&D characters and because of a D&D world. I was like, what if I just have the world and like it's got these different intricacies and things going on, and then I have the characters and what they would decide to do, and I'll just kind of figure it out from there because there's an overall plot that might happen and would be cool if it happened, but if they choose to make a terrible decision and run down in the wrong direction, get cornered, get captured, escape from prison, and then make it back to the point where they should have been like 10 minutes ago, that's a bit of wasted time and maybe unnarratively satisfying, but that's kind of how D&D works, and it's discovery, finding out how the story goes together. That's the way I decided to write this story, so there's a little bit like weird stuff that doesn't necessarily flow well, but I was just kind of finding it out based on what would have happened, if that makes sense. So it's a different experiment in how to do writing, and I think next time I write a story, because I've got an idea for another couple that I want to write, I think I'm not going to do it this way, just because it does waste some time when you like write a bunch of stuff and then go, man, you're back exactly where you were before. This is freaking dumb. Why did we waste all that time doing that? It didn't really accomplish much, but hey. Anyway, without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. I haven't touched this story in a long, long, long time, and I do actually want to edit it a little bit to kind of polish up some things that I never got to, never finished, because there was like some hinting that needed to be added into the earlier chapters. To make it fit better with what happens in the later chapters, but I never got around to changing that since I wanted to preserve the like, hey, I posted this before my character died because I like I posted it at that
Somebody
time, so I
has my
wanted to keep
name
the
in the chat.
date. Someone stole your name. How dare they?
Yeah,
Wow. Oh,
feels
thank
spelled
you.
the same way.
Yes, yes. I do have a beard now. I don't know why. I just decided to be lazy and stop shaving.
Also, EA, you haven't sent me the link yet.
What link? Oh, to the story?
To yeah,
Sorry,
the
sorry,
link.
sorry, 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 sorry. Okay.
Let me
Oh,
catch up
let's
in
see
the
how
chat.
cringe
Yeah.
this is. I make YouTube video, blah 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 blah. Okay, this isn't as bad as the whatchamacallit one for that other writing site.
Oh, haha. Like,
Wow, two
um,
people has given it a star, whatever that means. I don't know
first
this
stream with
site.
McKay's new channel name. Woo, says Silver. Yes, it is so different. Nobody will ever know it is me.
Ooh, let's read this.
Jade says, wait, does EJ want to be a writer or is it just a hobby?
Oh, it's just a hobby. I mean, if it happens to take off, cool, but I don't think it's gonna. I mean, I'm just doing it because I enjoy writing stories. I enjoy playing
No, I
D&D
think
to
you
make
should publish
stories.
the one that you made when you were
Oh
11,
my god.
and I think you should finish
Oh
it.
my god. Finish what?
But we're
There
still
is
so
no.
confused, Ethan. You have to tell us what we're confused about.
That story is so fundamentally broken. In order to make it into some complete good narrative, you would have to lobotomize it, just rip out so much junk and garbage and like rework it from the ground up. It's not worth even keeping the original manuscript. I did think
Silver,
about it, and like I had a better idea that kind of evolved into like a show idea that I want to do at some point, but it's so different from the original concept it basically isn't related at all. Sorry, continue.
Silver says, does this idea involve robots, perhaps? Your
Which
idea
idea?
for other stories? Because of your new D&D character?
Oh, no,
Jeez.
it doesn't actually. No, it's not related to the new
I had to
D&D.
translate that comment for you.
Gotcha. Thank you. No, I have a lot
Um,
of ideas for stories, but there's one that I'm like I have a burning, oh, this is a cool idea. It's like a mystery kind of thing, but it's got like more emotional drama and, I don't know. I have a couple
I love
ideas.
emotional drama. It's
I
my
know you
favorite
do.
part.
Anyway,
Swagger says, Swagger says, no, where'd it go? There's no way the story could be cringier than the fact that you wrote a story about a narcissist with a 14 pack who survives getting crushed by 20 million pounds of sand.
and a boulder the size of a car.
Yep.
And having a planet thrown at him and whatever else.
Silver says,
Super
McKay
EJ.
understands me at least. Nice 21 Pilot shirt. Thank you. I haven't worn this in so long. Just happened to put it on today.
Emotional damage. Yep.
Did you send me the link? Did you send me the link?
Oh my gosh! I'm sorry. You're correct. I did not. I forgot again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, you can see my microphone. I didn't know that. Poke, poke.
Pokey pokey. That's
He
not
had
how
a
I do
14
this.
pack? How does that work? He didn't
I had
actually,
so
but the way
many
he
abs
described-
that I could crush steel between my abs.
True.
Oh dear.
I don't know, Ethan. I don't know where to put this link because I already have like a split screen with Discord and with Restream. I don't know where to put this. I guess I don't have to see your face right now, so I could cover Discord.
Oh, okay. I mean,
I don't know what
you
to
might
do.
be able to read from the stream if you said you have that one up. Maybe.
Or I can just switch back and forth from the chat and from reading. I don't know.
Let's see. What do I have here?
A knife.
Not very useful things. This is an idea of what the characters look like, but I have better art of them somewhere. It's just not in my camera roll anywhere. I don't want to pull up my laptop again and find it.
Your laptop.
Laptop. Wait,
Laptop.
I don't have to. Haha, I've cheated the system. It's on this. Yay. I love it when I accidentally plan ahead.
Send party invite link, please. McKay, the past 30 minutes.
I'm so sorry, McKay. Here, I'll just for reference, I'll pull up an image of the characters in a bit. I like the way Joycey draws it. She's a good artist.
Yes, she is good.
Shush. Shush.
Oh, Stella says, sorry for persisting, but what are y'all's favorite colors or elements? I want to draw you guys as
Ooh.
dragons.
Ooh, I like being drawn as a dragon.
My favorite
I'm not
colors.
afraid.
My favorite colors are light pink, dark purple, and black. And then my favorite element is probably fire.
I like too many colors and I can't really decide on a favorite, but I like lime green, hot pink, sparkly blue, and like deep orange. Those like the kind of like bright and jumping out in your face kind of colors I really like. And
The kind of colors that would look atrocious if you put them all in a room together.
kind of, yeah. Yeah. It's like the 90s skating rink starter pack or something. And element, so like earth, wind, fire, and air. I could do any of them, but I guess like in terms of what I would like to bend, if I had the power of earth bending, I think that would be really cool to like be able to create little objects that I could use to build things or like create mechanisms and move heavy things. If I had the power of earthbending, I would really like that. Obviously, I would love to be able to fly with, airbending or the versatility of waterbending. But earthbending is just really cool to me. I don't know. But I don't know if that was your question. Favorite element? I don't know. I don't know. We'll just go with
I just
earth.
like fire because you can burn things. Ha
Ha
ha.
ha ha ha. Let's see, where is... maybe it's in here?
I want to be making fire out of nothing.
You want to... making fire out of nothing! Yes, this is a joke, because we couldn't pronounce things properly. Ignore the text. So this is the two characters involved with this story. I'll keep this image in mind
She
for
is little.
someday. Who is little? Oh, she is
She-
little, yes.
Cute.
Yes.
Height differences are cute.
You are cute. Get wrecked. Anyway.
Do I have a height difference with my non-existent boyfriend?
Yes. Yes, you do.
Cool.
You just haven't met him
Very
yet.
good.
Sorry for delaying for an entire hour, but now we're finally gonna read the intro of the story. When tensions flare, this might not be the best intro. When tensions flare into an all-out rebellion, Saphira's hometown is turned into a citywide war zone. The magistrate are ruthless in restoring order within the blood-soaked walls, catching civilians in the crossfire. Hope is scarce. What more is there to do? And then this just talks about stuff that I already talked about and is kind of boring. Who cares? Meeting Mr. Wrong. I haven't touched this in so long. Oh, 2019 is when most of this was touched last, and then I finally finished the story in 2022. And I still haven't gone back to actually
Oh yeah,
polish
I
up some
never read
things.
the ending. Oops.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's why we wanted to read it together, remember? So
Yeah, because I read it when you originally wrote it, but then you took a break for 500 years, and then I never read the ending when you
I was
got to it.
busy, okay? It takes time, and I had other things
Hey,
going
I
on.
have never finished a story in my life, so
I I finished one.
I
Well,
was writing like
some short
this
ones.
short story that I only needed to write like 2 more scenes, and then it would be done. 2 out of 5 scenes, and I just didn't. So,
The negotiations were short. I'm sorry, I had to.
gee,
Alrighty, so I don't know how much we're gonna get through this stream. I wonder how many words. Does it list like how many words are in this anywhere?
words.
Time,
You know
eight
what we should
hours.
never
So it
read on
says.
stream?
What?
That Maze Runner story that was so boring because it was just the actual story but worse.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was impressed that you were gonna like actually codify all the text chats into a like written
Oh,
story at
yeah.
all. That's a lot of work to put in for something that isn't even.
I don't know why I did that, but I in
I don't think
fact
you
did.
finished, but you did you actually
I
finish it?
finished the first
Oh my
book. I
gosh.
did I started the second book and then I never finished it and then I couldn't even finish reading it when I went back a couple years later because it was so boring.
Hmm.
Anyway.
Let's make this a little bigger for you all. Good
Oh yeah,
enough.
Silver, how's that Ruby and Natasha thing going? I am intrigued.
It had just turned twilight. The sun was slipping down the colorful horizon and casting long shadows across the white walls of the city. A blue dragonborn darted through the streets, panting heavily as she kept her head on a swivel. She was vigilant for patrols, of course, but even more so, she was seeking out the sounds of fighting. For where there was violence, there was still hope for her home.
I'm
Saphira's.
sorry, but she kept her head on a swivel, just puts a weird image in my head. I was concerned when I heard that.
Oh no, that is a little concerning. Is that not like a common phrase though? I feel like
I
people
haven't
say
heard
that.
people say she kept her head on a swivel.
Well, yeah,
I could be wrong.
I mean, in the context of like military operations, they say, "Ah, keep your head on a swivel, lad." And I don't know.
I'm sorry that I haven't been in military operations.
Okay, I just don't know if like in a writing sense it's a valid thing to say, but I know people say it to each other. I don't know.
Okay.
I I was this is a rough draft ish. Is that what I said for the when I was 16 story? Because that one was never edited as well.
Oh, yeah,
It's a
one
rough
of them
draft,
was
rough
a
draft.
rough draft.
Yeah, the 11-year-old
No, it
one I
had to be
didn't
the
have that
16.
excuse.
Yeah.
Let's see. Swagger says I finished my first story last year back in June. It's roughly 407 pages long, and I plan to get it published. I'm very proud of it. Nice, good for you, my dude. That's really cool.
I don't have that kind of dedication.
Mm, it takes a lot of time and effort. I would love to get a
Yeah.
book published someday, but I
I would
haven't
too, but
got
I'm
one
just really bad at coming up
done.
with like a overall story. I'm a lot better at short stories or one shots. I'm not really a person who can do like a whole story. I'd be a much better editor. I'd be a really good editor.
You should be
If
my
anyone needs
editor.
editor.
You should be my editor,
I
sis.
could.
Nice.
Sure.
Cool. Saphira's stomach groaned, every footfall a stabbing reminder of her desperation, but she was used to the hunger by now, and could only try to ignore her body's complaints. For the past few days, Saphira had been sneaking through the burning fortifications, stealing magistrate supplies and weaponry, and distributing them to the dwindling revolutionaries that still drew breath. But there were few supplies left to easily steal, especially since the magistrate tightened their security. Both she and the fighters were running out of steam. Saphira suddenly rounded a corner to find a squadron of magistrate reinforcements with heavy artillery marching away from her. With a small gasp, she desperately scrambled into an alley to avoid their detection, leaning against the wall for a moment to catch her breath. How did things get this? Oh, do you want to do the Saphira voice?
Her voice.
I don't know. Just make up a voice for her
Um,
inner thoughts.
I feel I can't do anything weird because she's not like a weird character, so I just have to be normal, I guess.
Yeah, I mean she's often like fiery and sarcastic. That's
Oh,
about it.
okay. How did things get this bad? Zafira grumbled to herself, cursing the last few days of torment. Tension. Oh wait, or did you want me to read or
Yeah,
just give
feel free to
voice?
go for it. I don't care.
Okay, I don't know how far I'm going. Tension and grumblings of dissent had been growing for months, but no one had ever thought that the Great War would come to the Whitestone Hold. The resistance usually fought in far-off ruins or fortresses away from innocents to harm. But this rebellion of disgruntled citizens had been homegrown by harsher regulations, increased by magistrate presence, many suspect disappearances, and finally a citywide curfew. That was a lot of words for my brain. Saphira had only heard one story. Saphira had only heard the story third hand, but from what she had gathered, a scuffle had broken out in the market between an upset citizen and a magistrate guard, which had quickly escalated. The citizen was shot dead at the hand of the magistrate, which was all it took to I can't read, to devolve the watchful crowd into an uncontrollable riot. Years of magistrate resentment violently burst forth, and the fighting had only grown worse and spread throughout the city. Days later, no street was left untouched by the chaos, and flames burned rampant through the streets. The main mob had been scattered, but disjointed groups of citizens still fought in isolated groups across the city, trying to hide from the magistrate reinforcements. The magistrate showed no mercy to fighter or fleeing victim alike. Both faced the sword or the woefully inadequate magistrate-run refugee camp. Every citizen forced from their home by the fire or the war was given a terrible choice: lay down and accept the utter destruction of their home city, leaving nothing but ash to be used as an example for future rebellions, or fight for revenge. One thing was sure: this was no longer the safe seaside city Saphira had grown up in. It was now a battlefield.
It was written with the express purpose of making it as difficult as possible to say.
Oh boy. I don't.
Chat break.
Do you want me to? Huh?
Let's take a chat break, see if there's anything
Oh,
to
chat break.
catch up with. Why is this better than I can right now? I mean, to be fair, I'm an old man. I don't know how old you are, but I appreciate that. Thank you for the British accent. I dare you.
Should she be British? She doesn't. I don't think she is British.
She isn't, just because I have not been able to do a British accent. She could be British. I don't care. If you
Well,
want to do British from here on
she's
out.
British now, guys.
Oh boy, she suddenly turned British. Ignore all other instances of her not being British. What is your favorite book you have read in the past? Mine is Skullduggery Pleasant by Derek Landy. I've never heard of that. Favorite
haven't
book in the
either.
past? That is a tough
My
ask.
favorite is the Lunar Chronicles, just all of them.
Oof, there's been a lot of good books I read. I remember really enjoying the Inheritance series when it was coming out. I read the first three books of like Aragon, Persinger, and whatever the middle one was that I forgot. But I never got to read the fourth one because it took forever to come out, and then by that time I had forgotten everything, so I never read it. Alas.
You
I
know
also
how...
really like the Bible. That's probably my favorite book.
Good answer.
Oh no, I just dropped a thermometer on the floor. Yikes.
Oh.
Thank you, Pengu, I appreciate it.
Drim says, yes, I love Lunar Chronicles. Have you heard they're making a live action movie? Are they really?
Whoa,
I
that's crazy.
somehow doubt that because I feel like the books are old now and I feel like it's like a weird timing to make a movie, so I don't know. But if that's true... Oh, animate it? Really? That would be cool. I don't know if it's... That'd be cool if it's actually a thing.
Saphira drew closer to the sounds of war, cautiously entering an alley in pursuit of the noise. Her attention was immediately caught by a bright plume of fire that blasted a hole in a narrow staircase. She saw a group of citizens ahead of her, fighting a group of magistrate soldiers. But in between these opposing fighters, blocking both sides from proceeding, was a brass dragonborn in a thick leather apron, who seemed to be pushing back the citizens with his shield and parrying their attacks with his short sword.
Turns on British switch.
Oh no.
A citizen that turned against his own instead of fighting the magistrate.
Oh my gosh.
Disgusting.
It's Peggy and Steve.
What have we done? I mean, that's accurate.
Malthus is just,
Okay.
you know, Dragonborn version of Steve, more or less.
You're very correct. And from what I've seen of Saphira, she's pretty Peggy-like.
Yeah, you're so right. Oh no.
Well, it's furry version.
No. Stop.
I'm sorry. Okay. Saphira, of thought watching him try to fend off the swords of 3 citizens that were able to reach him. He was on a small landing that connected to 2 narrow staircases, one going up and one going down. The citizens were attempting to fight their way up one staircase to reach the magistrate, who were attempting to descend the opposite flight of stairs to reach the same landing. I already have completely lost the image because I'm reading at the same time. However, it seemed as though the fire blast from a moment ago had removed a section of the downward stairs, and the magistrate's heavy armor made it too tactically unsound for them to jump across. The Dragonborn's nose and mouth were smoking slightly, as though he had used his fire breath to break the stairs and cut off
I don't
both
know if
groups
that's
from
how
being
fire
able to stab
works.
at each other. The Dragonborn was completely ignoring the magistrate's soldiers as he attempted to defend himself from the citizens, and the soldiers seemed baffled, unable to reach far enough with their swords. There's an ad in the— what the frick? Okay, sorry. Saphira was watching them from an alley and let out the same— whoa, that led out onto the same landing on which the Dragonborn stood. Once she saw that the magistrate's soldiers had become difficult to get to— I'm dyslexicing. She turned to go find a better position to attack from, but then she noticed the magistrate forces began to sheathe their swords and pull out some different weapons from their backs. Saphira saw some simple bows, but also some crystal-powered blasters, each of which was capable of bringing down a building. That's not good, she thought grimly. There's just been a lot of description going on. That's a lot for brain.
It's hard to keep like track of what's being described when you're reading it, when you're the one reading it out loud, because you gotta like focus on interpreting the
Yeah,
words, and it's hard to
but
like
also I
turn it into
remember
an
like the
image.
first time I read this, I was like, there was a lot of description going on, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because like Tolkien does it, but
Mm.
that's not really how I ever write. So I was like, oh, there's a lot of description going on. Should I be doing that?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just used to running it like a D&D campaign, where you like describe the dungeon master describes enough to give you an idea of the positioning so that you can make your decisions, I guess. That's kind of the philosophy that I was going into it, obviously, since it was D&D related. But yeah, it doesn't make for very good reading in this couple of paragraphs. I'm the one who wrote it, and I can't really remember, or I'm not really getting a good image just from hearing these words. So whoops, failure there. As soon as she saw the ranged weapons being drawn on the defenseless group of ragtag sword fighters, she decided something had to be done. She drew her dagger and quickly stalked her way up towards the orangey-yellow dragonborn, whose scales were glistening brightly in the light of the setting sun. Oh, okay. He was too busy trying to block off a barrage of attacks from the single-file citizens, so he didn't even notice her until she plunged her dagger into his back as hard as she could manage. The
Well, there
dragonborn—
you go.
Yep, he's dead. The dragonborn grunted loudly and stumbled forward, shield first, into the group of citizens, staggering from the force of the attack. Saphira snorted in satisfaction, retreating back behind the cover of the wall before the magistrate guards fully prepared their ranged weapons. But something was wrong. There had been no blood, and there was more resistance than she'd been expecting. Had the dagger been stopped short by a bone? Saphira took a quick glance at the new hole on the back of the dragonborn's shirt, seeing a glint of metal beneath.
Armor, figures.
She
She
thought,
thought, rolling
rolling
her
her
eyes.
eyes.
I didn't know if I was
Yeah,
supposed to tell
sorry.
her you.
I don't know. It's hard. We haven't got a system down yet.
We
Makes
do not, in fact.
makes sense that magistrate would help deck out a traitor to help him kill more of his own people. The citizens, upon having the dragonborn's full weight slammed down onto them in the form of a large shield, immediately tried to push the dragonborn to
A
the side.
shield, you say?
Ah! Immediately tried to push the dragonborn to the side and let him tumble off the edge to the ground far below. Unfortunately, the dragonborn managed to grab the edge of the stairs, just in time to catch himself from falling as his sword and shield tumbled off the edge. Bye, Cap Shield. Then the magistrate let loose a volley of arrows into the citizens, who immediately tumbled backward down the stairs into each other, the ones in front being badly wounded. There was no way this was going to end well for the citizens.
Retreat! Saphira screamed at them, but they were already doing so, falling back behind cover and entering doorways of houses. The Dragonborn, meanwhile, was desperately trying to pull himself back up to the landing, but he seemed tired and winded. As soon as his head was above the ledge, he saw Saphira and blinked in visible surprise, seeing who had stabbed him. It took every ounce of her self-control not to gloatingly
What?
stomp over and kick him in the face to send him falling to his doom, but she was well aware that the magistrates were aiming— what? That the magistrate were aiming right around the corner and could easily shoot her if she peeked out. It was tempting to throw her dagger, but she didn't want to render herself defenseless while she tried to find another weapon. Another arrow whizzed past from the magistrate, barely missing the dragonborn's head as he pulled himself up onto the blood-soaked white stone floor. The The Dragonborn barely glanced their direction as she immediately dove forward into cover, out of their line of sight, coincidentally right towards Saphira. Great, why did I hesitate and stare? Now I gotta fight this clown. She took a hesitant step backwards, bumping into a couple of barrels that lined the small alleyway. Might be best to just run, she worried, sidestepping the barrels to clear her path to back up further. Nonsense, you've trained long enough to take on a traitorous Tana. After all, he's unarmed. Her brain argued back as she planted her feet in a ready stance, as far as you know. The Dragonborn rolled to his feet in front of her and stopped about 7 feet away, sizing her up.
So
He was
oddly
tall,
specific.
even for the average Dragonborn, and he looked about her age, maybe a little older. Your ace? He apparently had some kind of armor on underneath his white shirt and leather apron, and his green eyes were darting back and forth between her dagger and her eyes. He seemed unsure whether he wanted to try fighting. Do we want a chat
Oh.
break?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Let's
Just
go.
confirmed that the thermometer is not mercury, so we're good.
Okay, don't die.
Does anybody else notice Ethan's mustache and beard? Yes,
What?
Oh,
He has a
where'd they come from?
mustache
Flight of the Dragons.
He's-
I have not. Never heard of it.
Who? What?
I don't know. Whenever I read stuff out
Um,
loud, I just don't process it. Yeah, I'm the same way. It's really hard for me to follow what's happening if I have to say it
Yeah,
out
and
loud.
also fight scenes are just rough for me, so
Mm.
I'm not really trying to pay attention to actually what's happening.
I think
but
fight
it's
scenes are
okay,
just
I'll be
hard to
fine.
do in general, because like you got to make it
True.
interesting and exciting, but also the only thing you have is their imagination. So you have to like kind of guide their imagination to do the work, and if you give too many like technical details about the 45-degree angle and it just kind of loses their interest. So there's a balance between like saying enough but also not saying too much, and I don't know what that balance is yet. I need to read some more stuff to like hone my skills again.
I just don't really write fight scenes because I don't
Mm.
know how people fight accurately to life. So
I mean, I've never been in a real fight either, so I don't know.
what? You're supposed to get beat up in that alleyway and that
Oh
parking lot
yeah,
and that
yeah.
trash can.
Fair enough.
Mm.
Dear.
Somebody was asking if the Lunar Chronicles are good. Yeah, they're good. Take that.
Yeah, you picked the wrong person to ask about that.
I mean, they might be more of like a girl series, but I think that boys could still enjoy them, so.
Mhm.
They're just fairy tales, but retold in the sci-fi future, my dude.
Whoa. I'm
It's
sold.
very cool.
That's all I needed to hear.
Hey,
Sci-fi?
you don't want to read them, so take that.
Well, I don't want to read anything. I'm just too busy. I don't know. It's hard to make
Yeah,
time.
it's hard for me to read anymore because, like, you know, that takes a lot of time. And at least while you're watching things, you can, like, be multitasking. But with reading, it takes your hands and your face and your brain and everything, you know?
Yeah, that's very true. And half the time when I'm reading these days, I like read 3 paragraphs and then go, what did I just read? I read those same 3 paragraphs. Oh, I forgot again. I forgot to pay attention when I was. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been reading that book you sent me, though. I'm almost done with it.
Nice. I'm glad to hear. Good stuffs.
Yeah. Apparently, my new pastor really likes that author, so I might have to read more of his books. Someone from church gave me a different one of his books, so I guess I have another one now. So, okay.
Did we leave off here? Fighting?
I was about to speak as a woman.
Oh yeah, it is you. Sorry. I thought he was speaking. I was like,
Okay. Alright, I'm sitting in an awkward position right now.
Hmm.
Okay. Breathing is hard. Okay. Back off. Go cry to your little friends there if you don't want to get stabbed, she threatened, brandishing her dagger.
the Dragonborn slowly raised his empty hands, trying to motion for her to lower her dagger as he began inching forward. Look, I'm not trying to hurt you. I just want to get through.
She took a step forward, trying to scare him off. In your dreams, magistrate trash!
The Dragonborn seemed taken aback by this, and he cocked his head in utter confusion. I'm just a citizen.
Yeah, maybe before you decided to sell your soul and turn against your neighbors.
She's so mean. Huh? He sputtered, looking truly confused.
Don't play dumb with me. You're with them, she insisted, continuing to point the dagger at him.
The only thing I want to do with a magistrate is avoid getting shot by them, he pleaded, gesturing behind him. He tried to take another slow step forward with his palms still defensively out in front of him. His hands were now only a foot or 2 away from the tip of her outstretched blade.
I'm warning you, next stab isn't gonna get blocked by that armor.
If you don't try to hurt me, we don't have to fight. I'm only trying to get by before... His eyes darted over her shoulder, for the first time looking at something behind her just as she heard the familiar clank of an armored footstep. She took a quick glance over her shoulder, finding another magistrate soldier rounding the corner and boxing her in. She had turned back as quick as she could, but it was too late. She felt a large hand close around her wrist, holding her strongly enough to stop her from attacking. This was bad. She was hemmed in by two magistrate fighters in a narrow alley with backup firepower covering one of her escape routes, and now her only weapon was being wrestled out of her grasp. Well, technically, he was just keeping her hand in place rather than squeezing her wrist to make her drop the dagger, but still, she found it extremely difficult to pull away or move in any other direction.
Why you? Saphira cried out, glaring hatefully at the Dragonborn, who had stepped still closer while restraining her wrist. Fear finally crept its way into her mind, making her stomach drop and her throat begin to swell, involuntarily producing a few small sparks of electricity in her mouth.
Oh yeah, I forgot she could do that. Drop the weapon! Stop resisting! Sorry. The magistrate soldier ordered from behind her, along with the sound of his sword being drawn. Shing! I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get by, the Dragonborn repeated calmly, trying to hold Saphira's arm in place as he scooted between her and the barrels. This put him uncomfortably close as he passed, but he did seem to be ignoring her. However, Saphira was not about to let this guy rejoin his allies and become an armed threat again. The Dragonborn may have been bigger and stronger than her, but because he had kept the same grip while trying to walk past her, he now had a bad angle. With a mighty effort, she wrenched her arm free and swung the dagger toward his gut, aiming for where she expected a chink in the armor. Sadly, the reasonably panicked Dragonborn managed to flail his restraining arm downward and block the attack. A large slit appeared in the sleeve of his shirt, revealing simple chainmail instead of the plate armor she'd been expecting. I said drop the weapon! The magistrate soldier barked, beginning to step forward, but still 20 feet away. Now that Saphira was facing the Dragonborn she was beside, she was able to steal another quick glance, seeing that two more soldiers had filed into the alleyway behind the first. Saphira grimaced, baring her teeth in a snarl at the Dragonborn, a bit of lightning crackling around her mouth.
This isn't good. The Dragonborn lunged for her dagger hand again, but she was too quick for him and managed to avoid his grasp. Unfortunately, via brute force, he still managed to grab her elbow and pin her arm to her side before she could stab at his thigh. She grunted in frustration, using her free hand to swipe at his exposed face and neck with her claws. He had been ready for this, evidently, because... Sorry. Because... because he
Oh
easily
no!
found other...
They were ready for that. Sorry.
What?
The Lego movie.
We're both thinking of different things right now, and I don't know what's going on.
Because you reacted, it made me think of that. I'm sorry.
I don't know what you're thinking of.
While we're paused, Coyote Glitch says, can someone explain? I don't know what's going on. Basically, this is a story I wrote a couple of years ago, like 4 years ago now, and we're reading it for fun. It's about two D&D or a D&D character and his wife meeting for the first time. So this is like a backstory
So
type
his
thing.
not wife yet.
Yes, but maybe someday.
And they are dragons, kind of.
Yes. So
Dragon people.
yes. Yes. Good times. Dragon people.
Where was I?
Here, picture for your
Oh, he'd been ready for this,
edification.
evidently, because he easily caught her other wrist as well, leaving them in a grapple with both arms locked in a battle of strength. She struggled against him, trying to break free, but to no avail. Ugh, why did it have to be one of my own kind? I could have easily overpowered a human or an elf. Without being able to move her arm, she tried headbutting the Dragonborn in the face, but he was a head taller than her, and his hold on her elbow gave him the rare advantage, making her attempt comically ineffective. That was it. She was out of options. She could hear the advancing footsteps of the magistrate soldiers, too. Saphira looked up at the Dragonborn's face, again with rage in her eyes, as she began to summon lightning deep within her, zapping her volatile energy in her throat. As she looked into his eyes, preparing to vaporize him,
Oh boy.
his face showed mostly determination mixed with a healthy dose of fear and a bit of something else. Sadness? Clearly this Dragonborn knew what was coming, giving his attention on the lightning and sparks crackling all around Saphira's face. Suddenly, his gaze shifted away, and to his right, towards the magistrate guards, and he let go of Saphira's clawing hand unexpectedly. She nearly stumbled at the sudden lack of resistance, causing her to swallow back her lightning breath in surprise. But she quickly recovered and resumed her slashing attack, this time causing 4 deep scratches across the distracted Dragonborn's face,
Ow.
who grimaced without looking away. He then gave her a hefty tug on her dagger elbow, throwing her into a stagger towards the stair landing, as he heard a thud of as she heard a thud of metal on the wood behind her. Saphira turned back in a ready pose, dagger arm now free to cause some damage, as she was greeted by an odd sight. The Dragonborn had apparently snatched the lid of one of the barrels. It's a trash.
Ah!
Okay, Cap.
I.
Used as an improvised shield to block an attack from the magistrate soldier, who now had his sword stuck
I
halfway
got a
through the
style,
lid.
okay? Leave me be.
This wouldn't have this wouldn't have been strange if the Dragonborn had been holding the pierced shield above his own head to defend himself, but as it was, it looked decidedly like the attack would have already missed him, and instead it would have hit Saphira. Saphira
Whoa.
froze for a moment, narrowing her eyes and trying to process what she was looking at as the Dragonborn proceeded to twist his barrel lid sharply, yanking the blade out of the soldier's hands. The lead soldier seemed understandably surprised at this rapid turn of events, and he was not at all ready when the Dragonborn applied a solid kick to the center of the soldier's chest plate, which sent him flying onto his back. The two other soldiers shifted their weight nervously, swords drawn at the Dragonborn, as the Dragonborn plucked a sword out of his new shield. He does realize that he just left me behind him with a dagger, right? The Dragonborn then stole a glance over his shoulder at Saphira, who is still staring warily. The 4 scratches on his face had begun bleeding, dripping blood down his face, and making him look like some sort of nightmarish monster.
Ew.
Upon seeing that Saphira hadn't moved, the Dragonborn took a step towards the magistrate's soldiers, readying the sword and seeming to ignore Saphira. Has he forgotten that I just tried to kill him? This guy is a cocky idiot. Saphira was interrupted from her thoughts by the sound of more armored footsteps behind her. She whirled, seeing that the magistrate soldiers with ranged weapons had finally found a way to safely traverse the gap in the stairs and were rounding the corner to see what was going on in the alley. Saphira looked down at her simple dagger, and then at the fully armed magistrate soldiers ahead of her, each holding a powerful gun or bow. She began backing up, keeping her dagger pointed at the reinforcements as she retreated towards the Dragonborn.
You brought a dagger to a gunfight.
For real. I think it's just the best way for a couple to meet if one of them's trying to kill each other.
Yeah, pretty much. Speed reading is
It-
amusing.
Oh yeah, for some reason I read super quickly. I don't know why.
It began bleeding, dripping blood down his face. Yes, that's what bleeding means, says Silvereye.
True, that's what it
Fair
is.
enough, okay. As you can tell, it has not been edited sufficiently, considering there's still a, like, uncapitalized paragraph over here, and there's, like...
I love that he used the lid as a shield. That's so fun.
I... yeah, it's using the environment, I don't know.
And then I have a thing where the characters met by trying to kill each other, so that's oddly reminiscent as well.
Well, yeah, of course, that's the most dramatic way. Who
Yeah, it's
wants
like-
to meet your spouse just, like, walking up to them and saying, "Hi, how are you? You look cute." No, you gotta be absolutely trying to murder each other first, and then realize, wait,
Exactly.
maybe you're not such a bad guy first.
It's enemies to lovers. It's a good trope.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like Saphira being, like, such a hothead, it works for her. She no matter who she would have married, she almost would have killed them no matter what. The other people she married.
The other people she married. Oh, that is. Oh no.
See a
guy?
person whose name I'm still gonna have a tough time saying.
Rimodram,
Thank you
I
for
don't know
coming.
if
Yep.
I'm saying that.
Bye.
Okay. Guy, she called out uncertainly over her shoulder, still not sure whose side this guy was fighting for. The Dragonborn turned, seeing the reinforcements that were confidently advancing with their overkill weapons. The Dragonborn took a step back, wiped some blood out of his eyes with his arm, and turned back to the soldiers in front of him. Is there a problem?
It said the Dragonborn took a deep breath and blah blah blah, and you just said Dragonborn took a step back, and I'm like, where'd you get those
I
words
did?
from? Yeah.
Where even is that?
I guess
Oh.
you were reading the next line where it says turned back, and you turned it into. I don't know. I don't care, but that's funny.
You know what? You typed fake the pooble. So
I
think
did.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I do not judge. Follow me, he yelled over his shoulder before charging at the 2 standing soldiers, running right over top of the downed one. Saphira knew this was a stupid plan, but she didn't have any better ideas other than trying to climb the alley walls and getting immediately shot down. She began running after him, narrowly avoiding getting her ankle grabbed by the prone soldier. That's a D&D term. The Dragonborn batted 2 swords out of the way with his own and slammed shield first into the 2 soldiers blocking their path. The human guards, who were roughly 3 feet shorter than the Dragonborn, were knocked to the ground as though they'd been hit by a truck, allowing the Dragonborn and Saphira to blast right past unharmed. There were more soldiers appearing in the alley entrance, blocking off another escape route. Luckily, the alley had a curve not too far ahead, so the Dragonborn continued sprinting ahead with Saphira keeping close behind as she returned her dagger to its sheath. The Dragonborn moved to the side of the alley, allowing room for Saphira to run alongside, as they heard a shout from the men behind them. Fire! Saphira kept running like her life depended on it, putting a boost of speed as she heard 3 wooden thuds impact something behind her, and one more hitting a pile of crates to her side. She looked over her shoulder just in time to see an arrow hit the Dragonborn squarely in the back and then fall to the ground without puncturing his armor. Nevertheless, the Dragonborn grunted hard from the hit and nearly stumbled, causing him to momentarily lower his shield, which he'd apparently been holding out behind her.
This guy and going out of his way to protect me, especially after I hurt him that badly. They were finally about to make it around the curve, out of line and sight from the soldiers. Out of line of sight from the soldiers, when the world seemed to go silent for a moment, as though Saphira's hearing had vanished. Suddenly, a powerful sonic boom enveloped the alleyway as a large chunk of the wall above Saphira's head exploded into a flurry of large rocks and falling dusty debris. Did I just say debris? Am I okay? Saphira yelled, trying to cover her ringing ears against the thudding echoes of the magistrate's magical gunshot as the wall began to Yep. I'm really good at reading. Raining down large stones and splintered rocks upon the two of them as they continued trying to run. She grimaced as a falling rock fell and hit her. A falling rock fell. That's what they tend to do. And hit her arm, the reverberating noise causing her vision to temporarily blur as she dove forward out of the rock slide of collapsing wall boulders. Saphira slid to a stop on her stomach, her ears ringing and arm exploding in pain from being pelted by quite a few flying stones. She yelped, clutching her arm and squeezing it. She didn't feel broken, but it was definitely going to be badly bruised. Saphira looked back behind her to see the rocks settling into an alley-blocking barricade just behind the Dragonborn, who was panting on his hands and knees. He seemed to have acquired a few extra cuts and bruises, in addition to his excessively bleeding face, scratches, and he seemed to be absolutely exhausted. Unsurprisingly, his shield had a couple of arrows sticking out of it, which had likely been targeted at Saphira's back. What's your deal, dude? Dude sounds so great in a British accent, Saphira asked, a little bit out of breath herself. Her voice sounded strange, like she was listening to herself underwater. She shook her head, trying to clear the continued ringing in her ears. The Dragonborn responded something inaudible, collapsing with his back against the alley wall. Saphira sat up as well and leaned against the opposite wall, blinking away the dust and grit in her eyes as she continued to support the aching arm. The Dragonborn said something else, but it sounded like a faraway tuba trying to communicate. Saphira motioned.
Charlie Brown.
Saphira motioned for him to give her a moment, and the Dragonborn nodded tiredly, leaning his head back against the wall as though he was about to pass out. They both sat there for a minute, breathing heavily. The Dragonborn closed his eyes, letting his arms hang limply by his sides, still holding out his sword and shield. He was a mess, covered in stone dust, cuts, and his own blood. His face was a terrifying sight to behold.
You mentioned that. Sorry.
Had she not known what he looked like before, he could have passed for being just about anyone under the blood and grime. She tried to tear her gaze away, focusing instead on the rising columns of smoke in the sky. Slowly, bit by bit, Saphira's hearing returned, and she began to hear the distant sounds of fighting fade back in, along with the crackle of nearby flames, a baby crying in the distance, her own breathing, an angry dog barking, more blasts from the magistrate weapons. Her arm's sharp pain also subsided into a dull throb, to the point where she could mostly ignore it. So, if you're not fighting the magistrate, then why were you pushing back those survivors back there? Saphira finally asked, wincing as she clenched and unclenched her fingers. The Dragonborn opened only one eye, possibly due to tiredness, possibly due to the amount of blood on his face.
I was just trying to get them to stop fighting, both them and the magistrate, he responded.
What? Why? She questioned tiredly.
To save their lives, the Dragonborn replied with a pained groan as he tried to wipe away some blood from his eyes.
What? All you did was get those citizens killed!
That's not what was supposed to happen. I was trying to help, he defended, opening his other eye and straightening up.
How does it help to stop their advance and make them like sitting ducks for the magistrate? She snarled, getting to her feet. The Dragonborn looked down sadly, thinking for a moment.
Would have worked out better if I hadn't been stabbed and knocked off the edge of the platform. I know it doesn't always work out, but I'm trying to get both sides to stop fighting altogether.
Why? What does that gain you? Who do you fight for?
Peace.
What kind of nonsense answer is that? She shot back hotly, crossing her arms.
If they stop fighting each other, nobody needs to die, Dragonborn responded earnestly. Looking up at her. Okay, maybe it should have been more like, if they stop fighting each other, nobody needs to die. Looking up at her, his emerald eyes seemed almost pleading for her to understand. Saphira was taken aback for a moment, seeing the glimpse of childlike innocence hidden deep within a disgusting, bloody exterior.
Wow, she's really roasting him.
Yikes.
He's so hideous. He's so ugly.
He's so ugly. I mean, she helps. You know, scratches in the face. Let's see. Chat break. I just noticed this is on Wattpad, and that makes it 10 times better. I'm not sure why, but that's funny. This is just
I
what
think
I
Wattpad
happened to
has like
find.
it's Wattpad is like degenerated to being like the cringe website of
Oh,
writing.
great!
Most people write on like AO3 now.
I've never
I
heard
don't
of that. I had never heard of Wattpad before I
know.
happened to hear about it or something just before having this idea. So, I don't know, just happened to be the place I posted it. More or less, I was writing it in my own little document, and I was like, okay, what's the easiest and quickest place I can post something longer than can fit in Twitter? And then I just posted it there and put a link in Twitter.
That works.
Funnily enough, in the story I wrote, the main characters liked each other immediately and got together in only about 8 chapters. I feel like that's not common in most romance stories. I don't know. I don't read many.
I mean, I feel like in most romance stories, it's like the point is to get to the romance at the climax of the story. But if you have like another story going on, then there's nothing wrong with them getting together towards the beginning, as long as there's still like some conflict and tension and stuff, you know?
Yeah, this is decidedly not a story about. Well, I guess I'm not going to give any spoilers. We'll just see what happens. And there's, I believe, 107 chapters, if I remember correctly. Wow! But for once, the main lovers didn't hate each other at first. Can you think of any other stories where that didn't happen? Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of stories where, you know, people actually get along, but, uh,
For example, the Lunar Chronicles.
yeah, I mean, it depends on how reasonable the characters are, I guess. People are different in real life just as people are different in stories, so, I mean, there's always different kinds of dynamics, and they're all
I
important.
like the ones that try to kill each other.
I just thought it would be fun to have this happen.
Well, we must think alike, because, you
hmm
know, a very similar thing happened for me.
hmm Gotta love, you know, borderline abusive, you know, at first, and then, you know, healing in time. Her voice
Yeah,
sounded
exactly.
strange, like her normally British accent sounded slightly American this time. Wow.
Trope.
Wow. Joke's on her, because doesn't she love him later, lol?
Ho 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 ho, she
What are you all
married the
talking about? I
ugly
was
bloody
cooking dinner.
man.
Hi, Samwise. Welcome. We're reading a
Hello.
story that I wrote a while ago, and it's a story about these guys. Oh, what did I? Are there 2 of these open now? How did this happen?
Are you two of these?
Don't say this to me.
I, sh- I asked a question, I didn't even say anything.
How dare you speak to me? Did you just speak to me?
Did you just speak
Oh
to
no.
me?
How did I do this? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sorry. There we go. Good
How
enough.
could you dare to not know what you're doing?
I just feel like it. Okay, just leave me be.
What? No.
So yeah, we're more or less. You didn't miss anything, Samwise. We're just reading a story, and so far, the girl is murdering this man. She's just like scratching his face and stabbing him in the back and just hurting him repeatedly. And he's like, "Bro, I'm just trying to be a pacifist. It's a hard life out here. Leave me alone." And everyone in the
Jeez.
city is at war with each other. There's like the magistrate who are kind of like the police force of this world, this area, and then there's citizens who are not having it, and they're kind of having a revolution that's going terribly for them. That's all you missed. So, do you mind if I pee real quick? You want to
I
keep
can't
up with the chat?
believe
I had
you had
all day
all
to
day
pee.
to pee.
Oh well, I'm gonna take some more. Get wrecked.
Okay. Chat, give me 1 second. I'm gonna text my parents and tell them that I'm streaming so when they walk in, they don't come and be like, "Hello, how are you? Tell me about your life," because I'm, live streaming. So, I'm streaming with EA, so please don't barge into my room upon arrival at home, lol. Okay. And now I should probably close my door because my parents are gonna get home soon, and I had my door open because it was like toasty. But now I'm gonna close it because they're gonna come in and start being loud. So give me 1 second. I can't figure out how to get out of bed. There we go. I did it. Oh my gosh. I'm a mess right now, guys. Okay. Silver says she's murdering him with emotional damage. Yeah, she's roasting him and she's stabbing him. We love to see it. We love violent women who become nice mommies. What? Sorry, don't know what I'm talking about. She has kids. I didn't just come up with a mommy thing out of nowhere. She has 2 daughters with this guy, so please don't think that I'm making that up. Harry says, no pee for you. Swagger says, basically the reason I had my characters get together so quickly is just because I actually wanted to focus on the actual relationship and how they develop said relationship. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. And that could make for a plenty good story, I say. Bye Pengu, thank you for coming.
See ya, Pengu. Have a good one. Yeah, yeah.
Swagger says,
If that's the point of the story, that's fine. Sorry.
I was reading the chat.
I'm helping. I was responding to the chat as well.
I hadn't read it yet.
I wasn't responding to that one, you fool. I was continuing the thought about the last one that you just read. Huh.
It frustrates me immensely whenever characters get together at the very end and we don't actually see the relationship, and that's why I loved Raylan so much. Ah, yes, I can understand that, because once they get together, you want to see them be cute and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Silver says, look in the out-of-context quotes. Okay. We love violent women who love nice mommies. Did I say that, or did I say who become nice mommies? I thought I said become.
Oh, okay.
I said become.
I thought we were talking about an absolute redacted at first.
No, she's not gonna become an absolute redacted. I don't think. Maybe she already is an absolute redacted. But yeah, Ethan, don't we love violent women who become nice mommies?
Yes. I need to meet one. Well, maybe not a violent woman in real life, but...
Who becomes a nice mommy.
What?
Ethan needs a violent woman who becomes a nice mommy.
Okay, I would like a nice woman who becomes a nice mommy, but, you know, violence is optional.
Becomes a violent mommy.
Wait, no, please, not that! Yikes. That'd be horrible. No. That would be the ultimate bait and switch. Yikes. And divorce is not a good moral option either, so I'd be like, bruh, now I'm just trapped, what do I do?
Silver says you could have, but I don't have ears. Oh no, you're using your earlobes.
For lots of by the way, these drawings that Joycey made, I did not like hire her. I did not trap her in a room and force her to make like copious amounts of art about my character. She just decided to do this on her own because she's also like, she liked the relationship and was like interested in it, and that made me happy that other people were like sharing in my appreciation of these characters. So she just kind of did it on her own. So don't come for me, people who think I'm, you know, overly obsessed.
I think that you held Joycey hostage and you made her do that.
No.
I can't believe you would be such a monster.
I absolutely would commission more art though, because even though it's expensive. Okay, I probably wouldn't because things are too expensive, but you know what I mean? What'd you say?
I thought you were going to say you absolutely would hold her hostage.
No, not that. I'm saying I would commission. Maybe I've been wanting for a while to like make, or back in the day when we were actually doing the D&D campaign, I did want to make some like animations that were like 1-2 minutes long, summarizing each session in like a humorous way. And I wanted to like animate with the different characters modeled, and like have a little snappy recaps of each session to keep people up with the story as it was going on, but I never got around to do that because I never taught myself how to model yet.
Well, if you're gonna animate anything, you gotta animate the poop story. Still waiting.
Yeah, I know, but that's 2D animation, not 3D. Anyway, I'll do that at some point. I was talking about rigging 3D models and figuring out how to do that, so that was leading to
Soggy
paying
Nose
someone
Hair
to do
says,
that.
hey guys, I've been watching since your She-Ra videos. How have y'all been?
Hello, welcome.
Good since She-Ra ended.
Oh, get wrecked, She-Ra.
I do not care about She-Ra. I don't care if I roast it. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean,
but it has a violent woman. I'm kidding.
But does she become a nice mommy?
Nope. Nope, she does not.
Jade says the poop story.
uh,
If you haven't heard the poop story, you're really missing out. It made me cry laughing.
it'll come eventually. Oh boy.
I just realized I didn't finish watching your High School Musical final video. Well, Ethan was absolutely wild in that video, so you should definitely watch it.
I don't even remember what happened in that video. I blocked it out.
That's
Too
when you were
traumatic.
freaking out about donuts and you couldn't remember Gabriella's name and you were just generally being a spazoid.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
It was great, don't be sorry.
I'm glad I could be entertaining.
Oh, you were something.
Oh, lordy.
Patrick carried because she was bad, but I definitely couldn't go back and watch it sane. That is fair.
The only reason I could watch it is because y'all, otherwise it would have been horrible, or it wouldn't have been bearable. Could I ask what happened with Kipo? Just asking since I watched it earlier. Oh, we watched like 1 or 2 episodes and got bored, honestly. we weren't really hooked by the premise.
Yeah, I guess that was part of it, and also maybe it didn't do as well on the channel back when I actually cared about what things did well.
And third of all, we had too many other things on our list of things to sass, so we were like stressed out, kind of, and didn't want to just like accept any thing that people were like, oh, watch this, now watch this, now watch this, and it was too much of it, darling, too much.
Silver says, hey, you should watch the one I edited again because I edited it. Lol, JK. Imposter syndrome.
No, it's
well,
fine.
Silver, I actually did
No
watch the
need
one
for
that you
that.
edited recently because I'm making those meme compilation videos, so I'm watching through everything.
Would you ever sass troll hunters? I don't know, maybe. I'll give anything a try once. I don't know what that is though.
Yeah, but at this point, we're not even intentionally sassing things. We're just recording when we watch movies with our friends because I am the only person who edits for this channel other than Silver every once in a while when she has time. And so I physically cannot just like edit everything. So right now I'm just kind of doing like we record stuff that I think is funny and then I edit that and we don't intentionally go out of our way to like make specific videos. So we just kind of wing it because I like things such as us watching Marvel movies and Shroomy saying that someone looks like a bell pepper because that really makes me laugh. Maybe they should sass your mom. You're so right, Silver.
I burped, sorry.
Don't do that.
What is Voltron worth watching? I watched like 3 videos and wanted to ask the professional sassers. I don't know. I never watched
Ethan
it.
never really watched it. I watched all of it. It definitely got bad in seasons like 7 and 8, and then like it was kind of sketchy in the middle there, and I've only seen it all the way through once. So if I remember correctly, I know people say like seasons 1 through 3 or 1 through 4 is good, and then it starts getting bad somewhere in there. So at least you can watch the first couple seasons. But season 7 and 8 are pretty bad. But the rest of it's fun, I guess. I don't really remember. It's been a really long time since I watched it.
Cotton Can't Queen. I have. Oh, Cotton Candy. Cotton Candy Queen.
Oh, man.
Oh man. Clone
Silver,
High.
yeah, 7 wasn't as bad as 8, but I feel like that was the start of the downhill era. I don't know. I don't remember. This was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Anyway.
If Clone
I was
High
about to
is
yell at you
not
once,
about clone troopers being trained for battle, I don't want to watch it.
What about if them getting high?
Whoa. Oh no. Alrighty, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna yell at you now.
Yeah, it's you.
Are you serious? You think there's any hope of stopping this war now after all these countless lives have been taken? No chance I'm never gonna give you up. Sorry. No chance I'm gonna give up on getting revenge after they killed my family. Sorry to burst your bubble, kid, but this is the real world. Things don't always end in happily ever afters, she snapped.
Calling him
He
a
stared in
kid,
hurt
he's like
silence for a
2
moment.
feet taller than her or something.
I know.
How
What the
dare
heck?
you, jerk.
He stared in hurt silence for a moment, then composed himself and hardened his expression as he stood up, towering above her.
Oh.
He didn't bother looking at her as he began walking away, mumbling something to himself as he passed her. Hey, where are you going? Off to get some more fighters killed? She jeered after him.
Hey, at least I'm trying my best to do the right thing, okay? He shot back over his shoulder.
You're an idiot is what you are! You're lucky I haven't stabbed you in the back already!
You already did, remember? He turned, still walking away.
I'm getting like Sylvie therapy PTSD right now.
Yeah.
You already did, remember? Wait, that was him. Sorry. Where am I? Who am I? What am I?
What?
Okay.
Uh,
Still, you're brave to trust that I won't kill you when you've got your back turned, she called after him, shaking her head. Should I let him go? Is he going to cause more damage? Is this guy even worth fighting? She wondered as the
a
Dragonborn
guy
walked a
worth
few more feet
fighting.
a guy worth fighting.
Guy worth
She
fighting
wondered as the
with.
Dragonborn walked a few more feet and reached an intersection with another street. He stopped in his tracks, seeming to think for a moment.
Well, I was hoping you'd have the decency to not stab a complete stranger that tried to save your life, he replied after a moment, looking back at her.
Oh, we're still talking? I thought we were done.
Ow! Sorry, was just listening, the Dragonborn responded, gesturing down the street. Saphira froze for a second, straining her ears to listen as well. She heard the same sounds as before, chaos and destruction, but no threats that sounded nearby.
I don't hear anything.
Of course you wouldn't, because you're too concerned with getting your revenge, the Dragonborn sighed, rolling his eyes.
Just get out of here before I change my mind about ending your stupidity! Saphira yelled after him
Bro,
as he turned back,
you're at
looking down the
11?
street.
I need you to come down to like a 7. Sure, will do. Take care of yourself. The Dragonborn struggled for a name, realizing they hadn't introduced themselves. Saphira smirked, making no effort to help him complete the sentence. Well, take care, whoever you are. I'm Mal+Sap, by the way. Saphira nodded in acknowledgement and gave a small wave as though to say, thanks, now go away. Mal+Sap the Dragonborn then began walking off down the street, still carrying his sword and shield. Saphira sighed, glad to be rid of him. Even if he wasn't with the magistrate, she didn't want to have some pacifistic idiot around making a racket as she tried to sneak through the warring city. Saphira dusted herself off for a moment, checking her injuries. Her arm was fine, just a little battered and bruised. She took a deep breath, stretching her aching muscles, and then began to head off down the alleyway towards the intersection, away from the rocky obstacle.
Well, that was a fun meeting.
I stand a Sparky girl.
Oh, Sparky girl.
Oh no, make me miss Mel. This was like days after after it happened, because like I posted the story, then he died. I mean, nothing happened. Spoilers for people watching the D&D. I don't know. Man, this girl is wait, PG channel. This girl is such a biscuit.
She also says, okay, the British accent actually fits really well. You know, angry people are British, right?
Yeah, just Brits are always angry. It's a stereotype, right?
Yeah, British women are just constantly furious at everyone.
I just described writing like being reading but backwards.
I don't know about that. Your
Uh,
eyes put words onto the page.
Alright, another chapter?
Sure. So what I kind of started doing was like reading until like a dialogue
Yeah,
breaks
works.
to naturally make sense, but if it goes like 500 years without that, then we can always switch. But
sure, that's a good system.
okay. Saphira once again began to hear the sounds of near. I already can't talk. Okay, we're fine. We're good. I'm fine. Saphira once again began to hear the sounds of nearby armored footsteps as she approached the intersection, so she slunk into the shadows behind some of the goods and debris lining the alley and proceeded as carefully as possible. Who's speaking right now? A gruff voice.
I think
Okay.
Mal+Sap, maybe? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is. Okay.
One of your men dropped this, by the way. Here, I'm sure you would have a better chance of returning it than I do. She heard the voice of Mal+Sap echo down the street. A gruff voice barked back something that she couldn't quite make out, to which Mal+Sap responded, "Do I look like a threat to you? Get real. I've had a rough day, and I'm just doing my best to get home alive." Saphira edged up to the intersection, peeking one eye around the corner. Mal+Sap was standing in the middle of the street, hands empty, while 5 magistrate soldiers in light armor pointed their swords at him, except for the leader, who seemed to have taken Mal+Sap's sword from him.
It's like Mal+Sap didn't get very far.
"Do you realize you're breaking curfew by being out like this?" the gruff leader laughed. "I have orders to kill anything on the street that moves, threat or not. Do you realize that your sonic cannon thingies have been blowing up houses every time you miss your target?" Mal+Sap responded, sounding annoyed. "The place I was trying to stay at collapsed on my head, so I had to leave. You can escort me home if you'd like, I don't care." Malthus's boldness seemed to surprise the magistrate's soldier, who remained in stunned silence for a moment, apparently not used to being talked back to. Saphira took their distraction as an opportunity to scan the intersection, trying to figure out what she was going to do next. She had originally planned to visit the docks to look for supplies, but the city seemed to be crawling with more and more patrols each day, so she figured a trip down there at this point would be a bad idea. Luckily, she did hear more fighting coming from a lower street to the south, so perhaps there were some fighters she could aid? The only problem with that idea was that traveling south would mean she'd have to sneak past the same patrol Malthus was currently talking to. In fact, it seemed that if she entered the intersection at all, she would likely be spotted by the guards. Saphira considered climbing the alley wall and sneaking across the rooftops, but her arm was still throbbing in pain with every beat of her heart. She didn't want to risk hurting herself or further or fall and attracting attention to herself by crashing down onto a pile of junk. "You're not the one giving orders here, wormling!" The leader yelled loudly, clearly offended that someone had dared to question his authority. "I apologize. I was just hoping that the respected soldiers of the magistrate would be willing to let an innocent citizen get back home so I could return to following the curfew," Malthus responded with the smallest hint of sarcasm in his voice. Again, the magistrate soldier seemed flabbergasted and enraged, but had trouble coming up with a suitable response. Malthus used the opportunity to keep up his momentum. "I completely understand if you want to kill me, but please keep in mind that I had no choice but to leave a collapsing building. What would you have done in my situation?" Malthus concluded, tiredly putting his hands on his hips and standing fearlessly in the face of the soldiers, who were hesitantly looking to their leader for guidance. Malthus seemed completely relaxed, or even impatient, as he shifted his weight from one foot, waiting for a response. The leader sputtered for a moment, clearly angry at Malthus's brazen attitude, but hesitant to order his execution. Saphira marveled at the situation, wondering if she'd be able to capitalize off of it with a similarly stupid idea, assuming his sweet-talking worked. Or was it honesty? She couldn't tell. "And what are those scratches on your face from, hey? Looks to me like you're one of those freedom fighters," the leader finally sneered, pointing both the swords he...
No, I just met a crazy woman.
The leader finally...
You know how it is.
Yeah, I met a crazy woman. Yikes, evil woman cooties. The leader finally sneered, pointing both the swords he held at Malthus's neck, who was forced to take a small step back and break his imposing stance. The other soldiers took this as a cue to regain their confidence, pointing their swords more aggressively again. Malthus faltered, forced to take another step back to avoid getting poked by the sharp tips of many blades. "I mean, how many magistrate soldiers have you seen with claws? I clearly wasn't fighting any of your guys," he defended, pointing at the scratches Saphira had dug into his face. There was a bug, sorry.
Are you good?
There was a bug flying in my face. The leader laughed, advancing another step and causing Malthus to stumble backward, losing the appearance of confidence that he'd been relying on. The leader raised one sword high, as though preparing to signal his men. Malthus was in trouble. It looked like he was about 2 seconds away from getting stabbed to death without so much as a weapon to defend himself.
Why is this guy so dumb? How has he even survived as long as he had?
That is a good
Saphira
question.
sighed, pursing her lips. Should she try to help him? It was somewhat her fault for scratching his face and potentially ruining his chances of talking his way past the patrol. Saphira grumbled to herself, mind reeling as she tried to think of a backup plan in case things went south. Then she adjusted her clothing to hide her dagger in the folds of her shirt and walked out of the alley, all while shaking her head at her own foolishness. "This was my fault," she explained, holding up the hand she'd used to claw Malthus's face as she casually approached the group. "We don't always get along as well as we should, especially in stressful situations like this," she admitted, eyeing Malthus warily. The group of soldiers gawked at her as she approached, clearly not sure what to think. Malthus turned in surprise, also baffled by her presence.
"What? And who are you?" the leader demanded, turning one blade towards her as she stopped a few feet behind and beside Malthus, facing the soldiers.
"Who do I look like? We're the same kind, aren't we?" Saphira asked.
We all look alike, right?
As
Racism. Sorry.
as though to make sure she was still a dragonborn.
"Don't you get sassy with me too, Dragoness. We were about to execute your husband for his cheek," the leader warned grimly, lowering his sky-pointed sword. Saphira nearly choked on her own saliva in surprise, but did her best to keep a straight face. Malthus and Saphira exchanged a quick glance, only long enough to register their shared, "well, that happened" expression. She had been going for the brother-sister route, but if that's what the leader found most believable, I guess it would have to do.
Wow, I love that we're going for enemies to lovers and then also fake dating trope. This is great. This belongs on Wattpad, I love it.
Lol.
I apologize, it won't happen again. We're just a bit shaken up from the loss of our home, Saphira offered, begrudgingly grabbing Malthus's arm like a protective wife
Ugh,
or something.
vomit.
Malthus, ugh,
Sorry.
his armies. Um, Malthus immediately tensed up, his arm stiff as a corpse with rigor mortis. Clearly he was uncomfortable, but hopefully sorry. Hopefully the magistrate soldiers would think the gesture looked natural enough.
I thought you said you were heading to your home now, the leader asked, narrowing his eyes at Malthus. Malthus sighed, planting his feet again and releasing some of the tension in his arm. Look, do you want our detailed life story, or do you want us to get back home to our little one? Malthus snapped back.
Aww, cute.
Saphira cringed inwardly, getting the sinking feeling this was not going to end well. That's it, I've had enough of this, the leader said angrily, walking past Malthus while rudely bumping his shoulder. Malthus was jostled, taking yet another small step back as the remaining soldiers kept their blades at the ready. Saphira's stomach dropped, and she began summoning lightning deep in her throat again, anticipating that she'd at least be able to take down a few men with them. Let these unarmed citizens go, the leader ordered his men as he sheathed his original sword. Saphira heaved a hefty sigh of... why can't I say that? Saphira heaved a hefty sigh of of relief as the soldiers also sheathed their weapons and began walking past them. But if I see either of you on these streets again, I won't be so merciful next time, the leader threatened with a voice from a TF2 character, still brandishing the sword Malthus had given them. Malthus and Saphira nodded, watching over their shoulders as the leader turned his back and resumed leading his unit up the street. The two of them stood frozen, in silence for a moment, well aware of their narrow escape. After a moment, Saphira realized she was still holding Malthus's arm pretty tightly too.
Sorry, she mumbled, dropping his arm and taking a step away from his personal space.
That sounded Australian.
Oh, that reminds me.
What?
Oh yeah, Kat said something in the Sylvie Therapy bloopers that like sounded like Scottish. Like she just like switched to Scottish and then switched back. Anyway,
Whoa.
That was completely relevant. Carry on.
Cool. Should we take a quick chat break for a second? Let's see. I didn't.
Are the accents fake too? Very fake accents in universe.
Broken power breaker. Wow, that's some thing. We're on the second chapter. The two love interested have met. They're also British accenting. Wow. EJ wrote this? Yes. A few years ago, so it's not like completely cringe, but it's also not like completely devoid of cringe as well. Ghost
How
Girl
dare you, wormling!
Yeah, very generically like racist-ish, I guess. I don't know.
Generic racist, love that.
I don't know. I mean, this was meant to be just kind of a like little short story to kind of give additional context to the actual D&D campaign that I was a part of. It wasn't really meant to be its own like super important, super dramatic thing. It was just kind of for fun. So I was completely like okay with tropes or whatever and just vibing. It was just for
I
funsies.
love me a good trope, just saying.
Like I said, I was just putting the characters in a situation and seeing like what would actually happen. What would they choose to do? I wasn't going like, okay, I'm going to make sure I have them do these particular things. So, you know, I just figured this would be how it went. And because I started this way, I feel like Saphira just gets progressively more angry and like she originally, like in the actual D&D campaign when we were playing, Stu was playing her as an NPC, just like super like incredibly nice, and my original thought for her was not quite that like soft, so I added some spice to her here. But then because I had her this way and like I just continued pouring angst into her, I felt like she kept getting too angry and like maybe went too far. So the next story that I have like involving them, I feel like she's gonna go a little too far off the deep end. We'll see how that goes.
Hey, you know, whatever I said about violent women who become nice mothers, it can happen. This is just, she was young and violent, and then she had some kids and chilled out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Silver says she sent me a DM about Ghost Girl. Okay, I saw that I received a DM, but obviously I have not read it yet.
Is there a car chase in this? does piggyback count? I don't remember.
Yeah, we'll count how many tropes there are. But
Ah.
so far they're good tropes. Tropes aren't bad as long as I like them.
Hmm.
That's how it works, right?
Yeah, you'll have to give me like your rating out of 10 for each chapter as we go,
Mm,
or the whole thing
mm.
overall if we get tired of that.
This one's good because you have the fake marriage and the fake baby trope. Love that.
Gotta love it. Yep. PETA wants to know your location.
Who does?
PETA, Hunger Games, fake baby, fake
Oh, that
pregnancy.
PETA. I thought you meant like animal PETA, like
Oh
the
no, not that
organization
PETA.
that.
Oh, well they are
Like,
dragon
why?
people. I don't know.
Laughing.
Problem with streaming
Okay.
with both channels is that the YouTube chat is split between the two groups. Yes, but you can see the chat from all the people in the box above. That's what it's supposed to be there for, to help out with that. So you can kind of like reply to each other if the reply comes on the other channel that you're not on. It hopefully unifies the chat a little bit. But I mean, if you want to, you can always just move to the other channel. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I won't have my feelings hurt if you go watch on my case channel instead, or the other way around. Did y'all read my
I
fun
have
fact? Where?
fun
I
fact.
I missed it. I'm sure it was very fun though.
I
Very factual.
Oh, fun fact, nobody has ever said the floor fell on me or I fell on the roof. Well, people might have said that, but it probably wasn't true.
Hmm. I'm sure. I'm sure that could happen, like reverse gravity or something, or I don't know. Wait, what am I thinking? I don't know. You've hit the Saphira slays trope. So
Hey, at least she didn't Mary Sue her way out there and kill everybody.
yeah, yeah. There's a grounded realism more or less with most of the things in this story because they're ultimately just D&D characters and they have some abilities that make them a little heroic, but at the same time, they're still just dudes and they are immortal and they get injured just
Saphira's
all
a
the time.
dude?
Dude being a generic term without gender associated. Can I ask a weird question?
Guardian says,
Oh boy, sure.
sure.
You can
And
say
someone says,
whatever you
want to
want.
see your twin, McKay? Okay, I don't know what that means. I'm tentatively curious.
Anyway, Saphira
Oh,
stepped away
anyway,
from
where were we?
Malthus' personal space and said sorry. Malthus says, it's fine. Thanks for doing that. You probably just saved me. Malthus breathed, turning towards her.
Had to refer, had to return the favor,
She
didn't
says, at him. He's like, oh.
Saphira has a stroke and then dies.
That's the end, chapter 2.
Oh boy. Had to return the favor, didn't I? She returned, giving a half smile as some involuntary spark zapped around her lips. Don't kiss her, that's scary.
Oh no.
She quickly covered her mouth, trying to calm her nerves and let the electricity ebb away. Malthus chuckled slightly, but they were both still shaken. They stood there for a moment as the sky continued to darken, the last hint of sun replaced only by the dancing lights on one side of the many moons. So, what happened to your barrel lid? Saphira asked shakily as she swallowed back the lightning once more.
I figured the guards wouldn't want to see that I'd been blocking magistrate arrows, so I chucked it before they saw me.
Ah, I see. So where are you off to now? Heading home to your little one, like your sob story said? She jabbed jokingly. Malthus snorted, looking away.
No. A lot of that sob story was only true-ish. Or at least that's what I tell myself, so I don't feel bad for trying to stay alive. You're welcome to come along with me if you'd like to see what I really do, Malthus offered, beginning to take steps towards down the street again.
I don't think people need to see any more of your failed attempts to get along with people.
Oof.
Saphira laughed.
Ouch.
Another gunshot went off to the near east, and at the sound of a bark. What? And the sound of a barking dog was replaced with a scared yelp and then silence. Malthus stopped, seeming to listen to the sounds, then he began walking quicker. You're going towards the sounds of fighting? Saphira asked, beginning to follow Malthus as he went.
Not exactly. What about you? What are you doing next? Malthus asked, seeming distracted. There were still sounds of more violent fighting farther to the south, as well as the aforementioned sounds of chaos, fires, and despair, but for whatever reason Malthus seemed intent on going off in search of this minor disturbance.
Well, I'm going off to the sounds of fighting. Magistrate isn't going to fight himself, Saphira replied as the dog began barking again, more ferociously than before, and the crying baby also began to get louder. Meanwhile, the sounds of a distant collapsing building erupted from somewhere off to the left in the opposite direction. Malthus suddenly broke into a run down the street. Wait, what are you? Saphira protested, speeding up to keep pace with him. Malthus made no response, but stopped dead in his tracks upon coming to another street. He stood there for a moment, listening, as Saphira caught up. She wasn't really sure why she was bothering to follow him, but she was curious what Malthus was up to as he took off to the right down a side street. She shook her head and followed at a leisurely jog as Malthus ran ahead, seeming to pick up more speed as he went. Saphira grunted in annoyance, but began running faster to catch up as Malthus turned still another corner and began sprinting down another street. Wait, where are you going? She hissed in as quiet a call as she could manage. There we go. Avoid catching unwanted attention. The sounds of the barking dog and crying child grew louder and louder as they went, and Saphira began to get an idea as to what Malthus was following.
Man,
Finally,
I need to like take a lesson from Shakespeare and put it in an iambic pentameter so it's easier to pronounce everything.
True. Oh no, I lost my place. Where am I?
Finally. Hello, Doodleshroom. He says, hello, this is my first stream and I'm excited. What has happened so far? We are reading a story that I wrote 4 years ago or so it's not like the most cringy thing ever, like my that I wrote when I was 11, but it's still, you know, a little charmingly rough around the edges, and we're having fun with it. That's pretty much it. So far, there's a city that is like at civil war with itself. Magistrate, police guards, or soldiers or whatever are fighting citizens who are fed up with the potential like kidnappings or experimentation or whatever it is. Something's going wrong, and the people feel abused, so they're all like fighting back, and it's not going well because the magistrate have lots of weapons. These are the two characters that are involved at this point, and yeah, they're having a good time. I mean, a bad time, but a good time. Injuries, they just met. Yeah. Let's take a look. Why do humans eat pizza from the inside out? That is a good question. I've never thought of it that way. Huh. Your twin is on Sodbuster, living on Yubtub.
What does any of those words mean?
I have no idea.
I'm very confused.
Wizard. Nice. That's
so good.
Great. Yeah, I've never thought about eating pizza from the inside out. That's funny. Okay, we're caught up with chat.
Okay. Finally, the two of them ran up to a house with a collapsed front wall and upper story, looking more like a bombed ruin than a residence. A large circular hole was also in the wall at ground level, and there was still a small cloud of dust settling around it, looking like the evidence of a recent magistrate blast, though there was no sign of the soldier that had caused it. The sounds of the barking dog and crying child came from within the house. Without breaking his stride, Malthus charged up a pile of rubble.
Sorry.
Through the larger hole in the house. Saphira stopped short, hesitating about to enter an unfamiliar enclosed space with this crazy dragonborn. I think you're the crazy dragonborn.
Oof.
He should be afraid to go in with you. She heard Malthus charge through a wooden door, and then the dog began snarling and growling. She decided to lean down and take a look through the recent blast hole to see the dog crouching near a wooden crib with teeth marks all over the wooden bars. Inside the crib was a small bundle of child's clothing that was flailing and screaming. The clothing was screaming? Saphira stared in shock for a moment, trying to comprehend what she was looking at as Malthus stepped forward into the room from an open doorway. He quickly scooped the baby out of the crib, lifting it high out of the dog's reach. The dog lunged, trying to bite at Malthus's arms, but Malthus gave it a kick to the chest instead.
Dog violence cancelled. Sorry.
Peace wants to know you're looking.
The dog just hungry. Let him have the child.
Oh no! And entered into the room, drawing her dagger as the dog was pushed back to the ground beside the crib. The dog continued snarling ferociously, sizing the two of them up.
Oh, sorry. What's with this dog? Is it a hungry pet or a rabid beast? Malthus asked, cradling the crying child in his arms as he took a step behind the crib to shield himself from the creature.
I'll betcha it's one of the magistrate's bloodthirsty hounds, Saphira replied, twirling her dagger. I'll betcha 5 cracks it is.
You think there's any way to spare it?
Who cares? It was trying to eat a baby.
Fair enough, Malthus agreed, kicking the crib over onto the dog, who barked in surprise. The crib wasn't terribly heavy, but it was enough to knock over the medium-sized black dog and temporarily pin its legs to the ground. Saphira wasted no time in stepping forward to finish the job before it recovered. She almost felt bad for it as it growled and snapped at her, but there was nothing to be done. She swung her dagger at the animal, and it let out one final yelp and whimper before it was no more. Saphira stood back up, wiping the blood from her blade as she looked back towards Malthus. He was nowhere to be seen, but she could still plainly hear the crying child in the other room. She quickly ran to the door, concerned that Malthus was leaving with the unidentified baby.
Straight up just murdered a dog.
Yeah, I don't
Yikes.
know. It's an evil
Okay.
dog, I guess. I don't know. It's a war zone.
Sure. Hey, where do you think you're... Oh, Saphira uttered, stopping in her tracks when she entered the doorway. It was a living room with a few sofas and chairs and a large rug on the floor, but the entire room was dominated by the giant pile of rocks from a collapsed wall in upper story. A large gaping hole in the room gave her a view of the darkening sky and the surrounding houses. Malthus was holding the small bundle in one arm as he knelt down in the center of the room, reaching down to a second figure in the room. An unconscious elven woman lay there on the ground amongst the debris, body half buried by the remains of the stone wall. Malthus had 2 fingers laid gently on her neck, feeling for a pulse. Saphira slowly stepped forward and crouched down beside him, feeling one of the woman's outstretched hands. The hand was cold as ice and already stiff. Malthus looked up at Saphira, shaking his head sadly. She sighed, looking down at the baby who was still crying loudly. The baby had pointy ears and a round face with ginger fur growing all over it. What are we going to do with him? Saphira asked worriedly, at a loss of what to do. The entire city had devolved into a war zone. Saphira herself had been sleeping in whatever nooks and crannies she could find, constantly in fear of being found or crushed. There wasn't a single spot left that was suitable for a baby, aside from the magistrate's secured perimeters. Then again, there was no guarantee against a rebel attack, even in the most heavily guarded portions of the city.
We may as well check to make sure there's no one else in the house, Malthus suggested, beginning to rock the wailing child back and forth with both arms. Saphira nodded and briefly poked around the other rooms in the house, including the second floor. There was no one else to be found. She returned in less than a minute to find Malthus sitting on the rubble and awkwardly cooing in an attempt to comfort the crying child. The baby seemed to be calming down a little now that the dog was no longer scaring him, but he was still upset. Malthus's bloody dragon face probably wasn't very charming to look at either. Another roast, just jabbing at him wherever you could. Any luck? Malthus asked.
No one around, Saphira replied, shaking her head. I don't suppose you know of any safe places around here.
Well, not around here, no, but I know a place outside the city that I've been evacuating everyone to.
Evacuating? Saphira gawked. This was the first she'd heard of any evacuation attempts, let alone an unguarded way out of the city. She felt a butterfly of hope suddenly appear in her stomach, tickling her insides. Tickling her insides!
Oh. Yeah, getting the innocent to safety, and fighters too when they listen.
How did you find a way out without being spotted by the magistrate?
I didn't.
What? What do you mean? Her stomach dropped. Please don't tell me you've been leading people into getting captured by the magistrate, Saphira glared, sickened by the thought.
No, of course not. I'm well aware the magistrate refugee camps aren't nearly as helpful as they should be.
Then how do you get by them?
I've made a few magistrate friends. They help me out, Malthus explained. Saphira raised an eyebrow skeptically.
Friends. Right.
Not every magistrate soldier is a ruthless killer, you know. Most of them have families and lives just like ours.
You've got to be kidding me.
I'm serious. They're reasonable people too, and most of them are just trying to do their jobs.
I'm gonna take it up to 11 again. They are
Oh
destroying
no!
this entire city! All the people within it! Saphira snapped back angrily. Malthus leaned back slightly, surprised by her ferocity.
Do you remember the rebels were the ones that started the fighting and caused this whole mess? I agree the magistrate are just responding with excessive force, but ultimately they are just trying to keep the peace.
Are you blind? Look around you! Look at what they've done! Saphira yelled, gesturing to the collapsed wall, dead elf, and smoke-filled sky. This is what they're doing to every single family in the city, including mine! She screamed, sparks flashing across her teeth again as she lost control of her temper. The baby began crying louder in response to her outburst.
To be fair, I guess they both have a point at this point.
Well, that's how you argue if you both have a point.
Yep. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to help people. Malthus responded quietly, looking down. He then resumed trying to softly shush the small one. Saphira sighed, turning away for a moment to hide her raw emotion and keep her lightning in check. Malthus gonna die. she took a deep breath to calm herself as the baby finally fell silent for a moment, staring curiously at Malthus's chin.
Look at that chin.
What a chin. Let's catch up on chat for a second. Curious, how did you name your characters? I usually name mine after music. Would you like to hear the greatest joke ever with character names? Sure.
Oh boy.
How did I name the characters? Well, at
Well, you
first,
stole Saphira from Aragon.
yes, I did. Except I think I may have spelled it wrong too. I'm not sure.
I think you did. I don't think there's two P's.
Yeah, well, okay, I totally took creative liberty and just
Totally
barely
original.
I made it different so it's not plagiarism and I can't get sued for copyright. I don't know. But
Exactly.
yeah, I was playing as a Dragonborn and I was like, okay, I want this guy to be like a pacifist kind of family man guy who's like loves his family and has a wife and kids back home that he wants to see sometime as he's going out doing D&D adventures. What could his wife be? Oh, if she's going to be a blue dragonborn, well, obviously pick the name Saphir. I don't know, just because that makes sense using the Aragon story reference. Haha, funny. And then for his name, I don't really know why or where the name came from in my head. I just was like, okay, we'll just say some syllables and whatever medievally sounding kind of name that I come up with, it works. And as far as what it
I thought it was
means,
like, yeah, I thought it was like bad, good or something, because like Malthus,
uh,
right?
I mean, no, that's not why I came
What?
up with it. I just came up with a name and it had no
I
meaning.
could have sworn that
I
it
didn't.
was Mal because bad and Theus because that means something.
Uh, Theus is like Greek for word or something, or like it's close to Theos, which is like
So his name is bad word?
no. Oh my gosh! No. How do we look up the etymology of a word that I made up? I don't know. So,
Where am I getting this from? Because I swear, because
hang
he was
on.
like the son of some dude, and you were like, oh, because he has like good and bad within him, and so his name is this and stuff.
The name Theus derives from the German personal name Matthias, which in turn derives from the Apostle Matthias. The versions of the name were very popular in the Middle Ages throughout Christian Europe. I don't think that's necessarily what I was looking for, but okay, sure. Okay, origin, that god, that's what I was thinking more, like Theos, because that's Greek for god, Thos. So really it would be bad god, I guess? I don't know.
Bad
Which,
God.
I mean, okay, if you know who Malthus's father is, I could totally see him naming his son Bad God. His father, Malthus's father, is a little bit of a psychopath who enjoys destruction and chaos and like being a selfish robber of everyone. So, yeah, him wanting his son to grow up to be like a violent psychopath as well is totally in his character. Malthus, growing up that way, would probably not be happy about that. That's probably why he's so pacifistic and like not wanting to fall into those shoes. So maybe the name does work. I don't know, but I really did just
I
make it up.
swear.
What?
I think you're lying to me.
I I legitimately just made it up. I just was like,
I think
huh,
you're lying
let
to
me
me.
think. What's the cool like medievally sounding name that I can think of. We'll go with that. Sure. I didn't like study the meaning behind it or like the etymology or I didn't even like make the connection initially of like mal being bad in Spanish or other languages. I just was like, whatever. That sounds like a cool name. We'll go with it. But it does fit,
Okay.
with everything. Okay, sure, fine. Believe that I'm a genius. I don't know. I'm not gonna argue with you about this. I don't remember at this point. Maybe I did think about it more. Maybe I didn't. I don't care. It's too long ago.
Abdab says, I just got back from helping with VBS. What's the story about? Well,
Whoa,
first of all, that's
cool.
cool that you're doing VBS because I have that in a month. And second of all, it's about an angry dragon woman and a pacifist dragon man, and they fight.
Yep, quite a bit. Just constantly.
Silver Star says, I have a character whose superhero name is Star, and her real name is Cassiopeia Burns. Oh, ha ha ha. I kind of get it, I think.
That's good stuff.
Jade's gonna take a shower. Oh no, I lost my place. Frick.
Sorry.
Don't you hiccup at me.
That was a hiccup burp. The two characters I have are named Jessie and Iris after the songs Jessie's Girl and Iris. They have a daughter named Stacy, so Iris is Jessie's girl and Stacy's mom.
That is funny. Oh, ho, ho, I laugh.
I don't get it at all. What is happening?
Well, they're both songs. Jesse's Girl and Stacy's Mom are both like songs, both of which I
Oh,
don't really know, but I know the joke.
oh, I guess that would explain why, because I don't listen to music, so I had no idea what was happening. Sorry.
Oh, oh,
Have you ever
no.
seen Adventures of Merlin? Oh, you mean the story I wrote when I was 11? Oh boy, let me tell you. We read through the whole thing and it was
Oh.
great. Favorite character
Is
was
that the
Ekapati by
show?
far.
Equity!
I
Yes,
just
I
have a
love him.
I have a thing for lizards.
And the best character of your edgy story was Clyde Parker.
Clyde Parker. Oh boy.
I miss Clyde Parker.
Oh, I should. Well, we should have a character in D&D that you and I are gonna do. Be Clyde Parker. He
You
can
know
be friends
what?
with
Like
Jarkathan.
an hour ago, I wrote that in my notes. I said Clyde Parker
Did you
D&D.
really? Oh, that's great. Oh, that's so great. Can I do the voice for him? Should I do the voice for him, or do you want to do the voice for him?
I don't know. I have no idea what he is going to do or
I
anything
did think
yet.
about playing Clyde Parker, honestly,
That would be
because I
funny.
did make a
Clyde
character of Clyde Parker.
I love Clyde.
Clyde Parker at your service.
Parker.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh, just trying to help people. Blah blah blah. Malthuse's chin.
Yeah.
Hello, the chin. Oh, Saphira had been out
Okay.
serving as a bodyguard on the night the fighting first broke out at the market. It had spread like wildfire, quickly throwing the entire city into an uproar faster than evacuations could be organized. Once she'd heard the news, or rather the sounds of fighting, Saphira had rushed home as quick as she could, but more and more citizens were joining the fray, setting up blockades on random streets and making it difficult to travel safely. When she finally had arrived home a few hours later, her house was in flames and her family was nowhere to be found. A heaping pile of flaming corpses lay nearby, with magistrate and commoner alike being burned into unrecognizable ash. Saphira had been forced to assume that her family was dead. That had been 3 days ago, and she'd been fighting to keep her rage and grief in check ever since. There
Well,
had
no
been.
wonder.
What? You mean her
No wonder she's
outbursts?
so angry all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's completely justified. Uh, there had been no chance for escape and no evidence of their survival, but now, perhaps, there was a chance that they were safe after all.
So, you're telling me there are survivors outside the city walls, right? Sphere asked, still trying to manage her fluttering emotions. Althus gave her a weird look, clearly confused by her tone.
Yes, he replied slowly. She looked at him, unsure how vulnerable he was, unsure how vulnerable she was willing to be with a stranger.
Have you seen my family there? She finally asked, her heart in her throat.
I don't know. How am I supposed to know which family is yours?
But there are other Dragonborn survivors there? Sophia cried eagerly.
Yes, of course. There are hundreds of citizens out there, all of different races, Malthus responded. Saphira's stomach did a flip. Vomit. And she had to take another deep breath to stop herself from regaining too much false hope. She opened her mouth to ask another question, but couldn't think of anything specific enough to determine whether her family was all right. She shook her head after a moment, closing her mouth. You could fit a whole fish in
Take me
that
there.
mouth. Sorry.
Oh, take me there, she requested, looking up at Malthus again. He nodded wordlessly and stood up, still with the quiet baby in his arms. They both climbed back over the pile of loose stones and emerged back onto the street outside, where the sounds of fighting still raged in the distance. Malthus noticed her interest as she craned her neck, trying to see in that direction.
Let's not go that way with this little guy in our care, he pointed out.
Lead the way, Saphira shrugged. Malthus began walking down a series of streets, slowly leading her towards the east wall of the city. Their travels were pretty uneventful as they walked through the dimly moon.
Doom, doom,
Dimly,
doom, 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 doom.
dimly moonlit streets, until she began to catch whiffs of a horrible
Catch
smell
any
whenever Malthus passed in front of
waves.
her.
I'm so sorry.
Well, so now she's calling him Stinky? Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Oh no, it's the baby. Okay, sorry.
Wasn't
my
the
lord, is
horse?
that- Oh, you're so funny.
Yep. Malthus responded tersely with a nod to the sleeping child in his arms. Zephyr laughed at Malthus's pained expression. You want to turn carrying him?
No, he's all yours. He seems to like you better anyway, she chuckled, taking care to begin walking beside Malthus instead of behind him.
Ugh. I just hope we can find his father, or someone that's willing to take care of him. Changing other people's kids is more than I signed up for.
Oh, come on. Are you committed to helping the furry child or
Oh
not?
no.
Saphira- The furry? Oh yeah, he is furry. I forgot.
Hmm.
Saphira teased. Malthus tiredly shot her an annoyed look, which looked a lot more intense than he probably meant for it to because of the amount of dried blood on his face.
Ooh.
Saphira laughed as his eyelids drooped. So how long has it been since you rested, tough guy?
Not sure. A day or two?
And how many fights have you been in since then?
Well, I've tried to stop the fighting, not get involved with it, but too many. Malthus admitted.
You certainly seem to know your way around with a sword and shield, at least.
Mostly the shield.
What do you do for work around here?
I'm a weaponsmith. Swords and shields are what I deal with all day, every day, and the occasional wagon wheel or whatever else needs to get done when weapons aren't in demand.
Ah, that explains the apron. I was about to ask how often you baked. She joked. He looked down at the leather apron briefly.
420. Sorry.
Ah, funny. Stretching out to display the many burn marks and scratches on its front.
Yeah, it's a good apron. It's been through a lot though.
And do you make a habit of wearing it home after work?
In case you haven't noticed, I've been a bit busy lately. I don't even live in this city, so visiting home hasn't really been an option.
Oh, where do you live?
Sentinel Hold. It's a bit of a commute, but the work is good.
Must be some work, she snorted.
It's not that far, and the pay makes up for it.
Oh, I've never heard of blacksmiths making all that much. Now she's calling them poor?
Oof! Of course, the town falls apart without a good blacksmith or two. I'd say I'm one of the good ones, he replied with a wink. He seemed more animated, happy to be talking about something he enjoyed.
Aren't you a little young, oh master of your craft? Saphira asked with a mocking bow.
I've been doing it my whole life, ever since my dad helped me, or let me, bleh. I've been doing it my whole life, ever since Dad let me help him with the jetpack, he laughed.
Jetpack?
Me
Trying to confirm what you'd heard.
too, though.
Malthus' Malthus's face fell and his smile faded.
Yeah. My dad's a bit of an oddball. Malthus chuckled nervously, shaking his head and sighing. He might have been cool if he wasn't such a greedy jerk. Daddy issues. Oh no, it says that!
Oh no, what?
It says that in a second.
Well, what do I know about money, daddy issues, and blacksmith economics? I'm just a hired bodyguard, she shrugged, trying to change the topic. They then began to hear the sounds of another squadron of magistrate soldiers approaching from ahead of them. Malthus seemed either deaf to the sound or too tired to care, as he continued marching straight towards them for a few minutes. Don't you think we should hide? Saphira whispered to him. He stopped, sighing heavily as though the effort required time was far too monumental to be worth it.
I'm not sure I'll be able to get myself going again if we stop now, Malthus complained, his head drooping. She sighed, grabbing his elbow and gently dragging him to the side of the street, where they disappeared into the shadows of a dark alley. They sat and waited for a moment as the footsteps arrived, but then they were hit by the unbearable stench from the little baby in Malthus's arms. Malthus and Saphira covered their noses with their sleeves, exchanging cringes as they watched the magistrate soldiers walk past the alley.
Yeah, maybe you were right. That was terrible. Sophia,
Horrible.
what? Saphira coughed, and once the coast was clear. I say next time we just give the little guy to the soldiers and be on our way.
We probably don't need to hide, at least. No magistrate soldier alive would want to delay a happy family with a kid that smells this bad, Malthus chuckled. Saphira cringed at his sarcastic mention of a happy family. She remained quiet for a moment as they continued to walk along the dark road towards the large stone wall that surrounded the city.
Sorry about earlier, by the way. What? Sorry about earlier, by the way. I thought the guard would think we were related. Saphira apologized finally.
Well, you did? Malthus asked, tilting his head in confusion.
Married isn't related, she argued in surprise.
Is it not?
No, well...
Alabama!
I-
Intense fast! Sorry.
It better not be. I don't know, it's semantics, Saphira replied, waving away the irrelevant train of thought. Either way, I didn't mean to bother you.
Bother me? What do you mean? You saved me by stepping in.
Well, you seemed pretty annoyed that I held your arm.
Oh, that. No, don't worry. I was more stressed about the swords at my neck. You were fine.
Gotcha. That's good. Sophia replied.
Soup, soup,
Sisyphus
soup, soup,
replied.
soup, 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 soup. It is soup.
Soup replied,
Sorry.
rubbing her hurt arm. There was an awkward silence for a few moments before Malthus spoke again.
Oh no, oh no, I have to speak again. I lost the place. How's the arm? He asked. She rolled up her sleeve to take a look at the large bruise on her forearm. It ached and was a bit swollen, but it wasn't too bad, all things considered. Sophia shrugged, returning her sleeve to its place. At about that time, the small one began clumsily flailing as though trying to roll over in his sleep. Malthus turned his head to the side as he gasped to avoid the stench as he... Oh, and gasped to avoid the stench as he adjusted his arms to keep from dropping the baby.
They're so dramatic about a poopy diaper.
It's
I
horrible.
think that's you seeping into the sky.
Horrible. Hold on, let's take a chat break for a second.
Okay.
Have we... Dark setting. It's been 83 years since what? Jabba's son, is that you? Oh no. I have watched Clone Wars, so I get that reference. It is stinky. I get it. I get it. I get it. I understand. I understand why this was said. Sorry. Blacksmith. It's Ian's dad. More like his grandfather, but yeah.
A knife in your face?
Yes, probably. Oh wait, was it? Was Ian's dad the blacksmith too? I think so. I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
Tell me about it, EJ. Mine has been asleep for years.
How many?
Like one.
You've been asleep for a
That's
year.
great. He understands the reference. That red friend, red rents. He
The red.
Oh, great. Okay.
Blop, blop, blop.
Plop plop plop.
You don't like kids, do you? Saphira smirked, watching him mumble to himself in frustration.
No, I do. I just prefer they have a few more years on them first.
What? What does that even mean?
I mean, I prefer them to have just a little more ability to care for themselves so I don't end up in situations like this. Malthus explained,
Okay,
gesturing to
EA.
the stink bombs in his arms. I'm sorry, okay?
This is just our conversations about
It
kids.
really is. I mean, that's just the inspiration for it.
I am the inspiration for her.
No, I'm just saying, like, the conversation, it's my point of view and someone else's.
Yeah. They're so cute when they're tiny, she cooed, peering at the tiny animal, whatever it was. Malthus grunted in acknowledgement, his eyes fixed ahead. I take it that means you don't have any of your own yet, she asked. Malthus
Wow.
gave her an "Are you crazy?" She laughed again, enjoying his annoyance. Wow, this is really reminding me of something I'll tell you after stream. Too
Oh.
young, eh? Are you still living with your family?
Nope. I've been on my own for a few years now. Like I said, Dad wasn't really the best.
I'm sorry to hear that. And your mom?
Dead.
Your mum?
Oh.
Oh. I'm sorry once again.
Don't be. I'm fine now, he grunted. She looked up at him, studying his face. It was hard to tell his emotions with his face
His
being...
ugly, hideous, horrible
His
face.
disgusting face that deserves to be on the bottom of a tire. Just face prints on every side of the street. It was hard to tell his emotions with his face being so covered in scabs and grime, but his voice was laced with a hint of sadness. She couldn't help but feel bad for the guy. We're here, he suddenly announced, straightening up and seeming to compose himself. Saphira looked around, not seeing the promised exit to the city. They had nearly arrived at... arrived?
A wife?
They had...
Newly a wife.
Your wife! They had nearly arrived at the great city wall. They stood about 30 feet away from the base of it as they walked between several dark shop windows and buildings along with a cold forge. At the end of the street was simply a pile of crates and trash, same as most of the other alleys in the city.
Where? Sophia whispered to him. Malthus nodded off to the left of the street as he led her into another side alley beside one of the shops. She followed carefully, eyeing the shadows surrounding them.
Relax, I know these guys, Malthus reassured her as they reached the area behind the buildings. Here, this'll make things easier, Malthus proposed, thrusting the baby into her arms. She gasped,
Malthus
surprised.
proposed.
Whoa! So scandalous, so quickly. She gasped surprisedly and opened her mouth to argue until Matthias gave her a tired, fleeting look. She rolled her eyes in exasperation, trying to shift the child's weight so she could cradle him without making her arm hurt. The baby stirred, twitching in his sleep, but somehow did not wake, even though he's covered in poop. Sophia scrunched up her nose, trying to ignore the stomach-churning smell as Malthus turned back towards the outer wall, where they finally were greeted by a small area at the end of the alley lit with 2 torches. 2 magistrate guards in full plate armor stood on either side of a stone doorway, which was reinforced with an iron portcullis. "Hey guys," Malthus called out as they approached the light. The guard immediately put their hands on their swords and began looking around, studying the darkness. "Who's there?" one of the guards called out. "It's just me," Malthus returned as they began to get close. The guards drew their swords, then finally spotted them. "Who are you? Show yourself!" they demanded angrily, their golden helmets shining in the torchlight, obscuring their faces. "We're working on it, relax. It's been a long day," Malthus responded as they finally reached the outskirts of the light. Sophia hesitated as they stepped forward. The guards still seemed hostile. Something didn't seem right. She began casually scanning the area with her peripheral vision as the guards pointed their swords at Malthus. "Halt! What business do you have being out at past curfew?" one of the guards asked. Sophia heard a faint thump from a nearby alley. She turned slowly, craning her neck to see, but she couldn't see anything in the darkness.
I thought you said you had met these guys before, she worried, trying to sound like some kind of timid wife.
Timid
again,
wife.
but
TM.
but also trying to encode a hint of urgency to warn Malthus that they might not be alone.
"Well, I thought I had," Malthus replied annoyedly, putting his hands on his hips and shaking his head at the magistrate guards. "Do you guys know Tom and Samuel?" Malthus asked the 2 guards, who exchanged a look. Sophia, I think those are placeholder names. Sophia heard another unexplained noise behind them, sounding like it was from above. She refrained from looking back, knowing it would only make them look more suspicious. "I'm afraid those 2 have been relieved of their duties for disobeying direct orders," the guard replied, sounding like he was sneering beneath the shadow of his helmet. Malthus froze for a moment, looking down sadly. "Oh, but they seemed like such nice people," Malthus mourned. "Well, perhaps they were, but a traitor is a traitor," the guard replied with sickly sweet sympathy. "So, Mr. Dragonborn, why don't you tell us why you and your lady friend are out so late when there's a citywide curfew in effect?" the guard asked in mock curiosity, beginning to walk casually forward towards Malthus, sword still lazily pointed at him. Sophia heard another thump from off to the left, sounding like an armored footstep. This was very bad. They needed to go, now. She felt her stomach begin to tense up, starting to summon lightning as Malthus sighed and looked back up at the guard. She tried urgently to catch Malthus's eye. "Well, judging by your tone of voice, you're not as willing to help me as your coworkers were, but I was going to ask for your help in getting this woman and child to safety because their house is no longer safe," Malthus explained, gesturing to Sophia and the baby.
Oh, why would you say that? Sophia cringed, biting her lip nervously as the other soldiers began slowly advancing as well, lifting up his faceplate to see more clearly.
"Oh, but of course! We'd be more than happy to escort them to the refugee camp," the face-revealed soldier offered, bowing deeply and offering his non-sword hand to her.
Oh, that's me. Actually, I'd rather not bring the child there if we can avoid it. Do you have any other suggestions? Sophia asked politely, feeling herself begin to sweat in the warm spring air. The soldier before her seemed taken aback and gave one loud "Ha!
Ha! 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 Ha!
Oh, that's a soldier speaking.
Yes, I guess so. "Well, I'm sure we could make other arrangements if you'd prefer, but don't you find it odd, young lady, that your baby seems to have fur instead of scales?" The soldier laughed, shoving his twisted smile right in Sophia's face. She worriedly looked to Malthus for help, leaning away from the rude soldier, then that's his name now, then froze for a moment, making a foul face before he backed off, waving his hand to waft away the diaper smell. "The baby isn't ours, we're just trying to be good Samaritans. Is there any way you could let us through this door so the small one doesn't have to stay in a refugee camp?" Malthus pleaded with the guard near him. Another mysterious thud, and another. "Oh, I'd love to, but sadly I seem to have a couple of arrest warrants here," the masked soldier relayed with exaggerated sympathy, pulling out a folded piece of parchment from his pocket. Suddenly, the sounds of I assume heavy, armored footsteps arose from all around, and 12 extra magistrate soldiers popped out of every side alley in the area, completely surrounding them. Each was already armed and ready for battle. My orders seem to be arrest Malthus, son of Drogos, and his blue dragonborn friend, the soldier read, pretending to adjust a pair of glasses. Saphira stared in shock for a moment.
Of Drogos? Impossible! She snapped her eyes.
Impossible!
Who said nothing.
Anime intensifies.
That's impossible! Her eyes. She snapped her eyes to Malthus, who said nothing and set his jaw. Guard?
Sorry. No, do you happen to know who this Malthus is, young dragonborn? The guard asked knowingly, continuing to circle around right behind Malthus, who simply stared out into space.
Could they be right? They did know his name.
Nothing to say, eh? Only makes this easier for us. The courts see you, dragonborn, all the same. Nothing more than trouble-making scum. The guard threatened grimly, putting his blade against Malthus's throat. I do hope you all realize quickly that this is a mistake. I've done nothing but help people here. Malthus responded, turning his head to give the guard a cold glare. Mistake? Ha! The only mistake here is the fact that you've been leading people against magistrate law, and now you're going to lead us right to your friends. The guard laughed, kicking the back of Malthus's knee and sending him to the ground with a grunt.
Well, that's it. We have zero chance of fixing the situation now.
Ta-da, we're dead. Sorry.
Took all Saphira's self-control not to drop the baby, draw her knife, and begin. So anyways, I was
Yes.
blasting lightning on all the magistrate soldiers in a desperate bid for freedom. But it was clear that this was not a fight they would win. There were too many soldiers in better tactical positions. Malthus sighed as he knelt on the ground, hanging his head and slowly raising his hands.
Chop it off. That's what I thought, the guard spat as two guards came forward and tightened a pair of handcuffs down on Malthus's wrists. Saphira hesitated, glancing around at the semicircle of soldiers for any chance of escape. And how about you, Dragonless? The soldier sneered, turning his attention to her. How long have you been helping this pile of filth?
Specious jerks, assuming every troublemaking dragon in the realm knows each other. You kind of said that, of course, we know each other, we look the same earlier. So, okay.
Yeah, that's so true. I think she was playing on the assumptions of these people, trying to turn it to her advantage.
I wonder if they're related to Ekapati.
Oh my gosh.
She grumbled inwardly, snarling as several more soldiers descended on her, roughly snatching the baby out of her arms, taking her dagger, sheath and all. The baby awoke and immediately began screaming, and causing the soldiers to hold him. Causing the soldier holding him to slap a hand over the child's mouth.
Oof.
Stop! Don't hurt him! Saphira cried, trying to fight her way free of the soldiers that had begun tying her up. The soldiers simply held her tighter to stop her from struggling, and they quickly restrained her before they could manage anything else. Malthus looked at her with a pained look in his eyes, as though to say, I'm sorry. She shook her head with a sad nod, knowing it wasn't his fault. Warrant Guard raised the butt of his sword over Malthus's head and swung it down to knock him out cold. The last thing she remembered was a sharp pain in the back of her own head, and then there was nothing but blackness.
Gasp! Oh no! What they gonna do?
She's gonna wake up and
she's gonna be somewhere else! Oh no! EJ spoke, McKay spoke, and now here we are. EJ was apparently bitten by an ugly vampire. Oh no. What?
What?
Silver says, what did I miss? Can I get a recap of the last 20 minutes? Yeah, sure. So...
Stinky baby. That's the
Stinky last 20 minutes or so, you already know who Malthus and Saphira are. They found a baby who was abandoned, and his mom, I guess, got crushed by half a house, so, she got Wicked Witch of the Easted, and now the baby has no family and needs a diaper change. Malthus and Saphira were like, bruh, okay, let's try to get him out of the city, and turns out the guards who had helped to get people out of the city are no longer in employment, and instead some mean people are capturing them. That's about it. Insert some angsty conversations as well. His mom got crushed by a house. OMG, it's Ren. I don't know who that is.
Oh no! It's baby Ren. I don't think Ren is that hairy though.
She returns with burgers and fries of the homemade variety. Whoa.
I was making burger. Laugh.
Let's see. The
Swagger
diaper is
says,
a
"I think
metaphor
Suchi
for
would be."
romance, the way it's awkwardly overhandled. Romance is a metaphor for diaper! What?
Oh,
Oh
no,
no.
no, no, no.
Oh dear. It's like a smile, you
I
don't
think you
smile.
two would be good voice actors. Ethan in particular has a very distinct voice, but both of you with some practice could probably voice in cartoons and such.
Thank
Oh
you.
yeah, I was told one time that I sounded like a generic woman voice actor, so thank you. Because one
Oh,
of my
you'd be
friends
such
was
a good
making like
dead mom.
storyboard, and he had me voice the part for the woman, and his friend was like, "She sounds like a generic woman voice actor," and I was like, "Cool, I'm gonna take that as a compliment."
Yeah, you could be an extra. Yeah, I do a lot
Oh
of
boy.
voice acting for my Dungeons and Dragons. I do all kinds of different voices, like goblins who are doing crazy little things, and you know, I'm an old wizard having a stroke. Yep. So I do enjoy doing different voices, and I don't think I'm the best at it, but you know, I've got some natural talent, so that's fun. And I like to use that talent where I can. For example, reading stories or doing D&D. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever make a career out of it because it's so many people are trying to do that. It's hard to like
I will
get
make a
into the
career out of
industries.
you.
Duh. Somehow I'll make a career out of you.
I really don't know what that means.
Neither do I. I'm a
just
little,
wanted to
just
say
a
it.
little bit intimidated by it.
Good. As you should be.
Why
I'm
are
not
the
even attempting to do
streams
my voice
with
because I think it'd be funny. Ethan, do a silver impersonation.
do a silver impersonate? I feel like I don't know Silver well enough to like have any distinctive qualities that I could emulate other than just talking about Ruby a lot. And she's got
I
a
mean,
distaff laugh, I guess, when she's like not taking
she
herself
does have a
seriously
very
and
like
the
high-pitched
the
laugh.
imposter when she's suffering from imposter syndrome, she's like like
Aw.
don't look at me, but I don't know. I can't do women voices. That's the one thing that I've realized I just can't do. I should not try. Any woman voice other than like a horrible like generic really ugly woman type of voice, I can't really do like any voice that sounds
What
womanly.
about champagne?
Oh my gosh. No. Or Brutina! I don't remember how to do that one.
Iconic.
Basketballs!
Brutina.
What?
Shout out if you know Brutina. Let me
Yeah,
know in the
that's
chat.
a really old one.
You're an OG if you know Brutina.
Ruby Rose and
Lol,
imposter
that's
syndrome. Well, I mean, that's what you talk about.
Yeah, I'm. What am I? I'm Marvel and
Sad.
sad. I don't want to be sad.
I don't know.
I only act sad around family. I act really happy around other people.
Interesting.
Because when I'm at home, I'd be big depressed, but when I'm with other people, I either am happy or I'm faking it. So, you know.
I just hopped on and EJ starts doing an old man impression. What is happening, lol?
It's pretty
Not
normal for
much.
him.
Talking about voice acting and reading a story with different voices and stuff. It's a good time. When you're a man and you're doing a girl voice, do it very badly so it's funny and not offensive. Like whenever Aaron Hansen does a girl voice. I don't know who that is, but yeah, that's
Dear
usually
Aaron
what I end
Hansen.
up doing. Dear Aaron Hansen, do a shroomy or cat impersonation.
Something Cat said.
I can't really do people's regular voices as impressions that easily. If they do a specific line in a specific way, I can emulate it, but I can't like just do their regular voice and say whatever. It's really hard to capture that kind of essence.
Here, I will be Cat. Not offended. I'm just extremely angry at everything you say.
Yeah. Well, what is happening right now? What is wrong with you, woman?
That's pretty good.
That's a shroomy.
Let's see, what's something loud Cat says?
Did you just burp as shroomy? Or was that just a burp? I don't know.
That would have been funny.
Hello, the little planet. Nice to see you all again. Hope you're having a
Hello.
good day.
I don't know what Lego Monkey Kid is.
Lego what?
And hello, Vert.
I have no idea what that is.
Do the cat is broken voice.
It's great to see you again. You have no how much you have missed your dynamic.
What's the cat is broken voice or cat laugh? Oh, how does she laugh when she's broken?
Like that.
I'm breathing.
I'm breathing.
She's
do
funny.
do an impression of Shroomy on top of a tree talking to cat on the ground.
Oh, okay.
How
Maybe
you
Shroomy.
doing?
It's a little too intense of a scream. But...
Have you guys seen the Mario Bros movie yet? It's actually really good. I did see it.
Oh, you did? I didn't.
I saw it online.
Hmm.
It was
Didn't Shroomy say that we should watch it together?
there. Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. I can
Oh.
pretend I didn't see it.
Okay.
We can assess it together. That way I don't need to pay
So
attention
this
to the
is
plot. I can just
a
pay
Peter
attention to you
Parker.
guys saying things in the background.
Got something for me?
Vertex, as in the edge of a shape.
shape.
Got it.
Oh,
I got it.
oh.
Nice. I like it. Math names. Ah.
Everyone's asking, have you seen Across the Spider-Verse? No, because I don't have anyone to see it with
You
in real
bug.
life.
Why are you bugging in my bug place? I am allowed to bug in my bug place.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. Losing my mind. Just a little bit. You two,
I'm
just go see
losing
Across the
my
Spider-Verse by
mind.
yourself.
Oh.
Ooh, I could. But actually, maybe don't pay Sony. Oof. Ugh.
What's wrong with Sony?
I don't know. I don't know anything about Sony doing anything weird these days,
I don't either. I don't
but
know
it seems
anything.
like every company is just having crazy issues.
Why are Shroomy and Cat so flirty all the time? I love it, but why? It's just
I
both of their personalities.
Don't know. Yeah, they're very,
Did you just
very.
speak
EJ, you can't
I
lost your
was
mind if you
really
don't
sorry.
have one. Oh, oof. You're right.
Oh, got him.
I've hacked the system. Modern problems require modern solutions.
Martin Solutions?
Modern Russian interpreter. Are you
You know?
are you making fun of me?
No, I would never do that.
How dare you?
I would never
Anyway,
make fun of you.
how old is Kat again? I don't remember. She's like
She's
20.
21, I think? Or did she just turn 22?
Maybe 22 now? I really don't
I
know.
think she might be 22.
Yeah.
I'm like older than her, but not that much.
Yeah, I think you're like a year older than her or something. Close to
Well,
that.
that doesn't make sense because she's April and I'm September, but.
Okay, well, I mean not like an actual year, but like an amount.
I've been asleep for years.
uh, so we did make it to the end of the chapter, sis. What did you think? Or should we save the rating until the very end of the thing? Save the out of 10 rating later.
I don't know. I like it so far because
Yay!
You know,
Am I doing good? Even though we're judging me?
You're
Hardcore.
playing with my favorite tropes of
Yay.
like the guy who is like kind of just tired of life and is being all like blah, 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 and the girl who's like teasing him for it and she tried to kill him, which is good, and then they got a baby and they had to pretend to be married, which are all very good things. So you know, we're kind of on the same wavelength with like what we like in our stories.
Cool. Yay. I'm glad.
Which
I'm
makes
glad.
me even feel more valid because you're a man and you're writing these things, and it's so I'm not just sappy woman. It is like, you know, a thing that people enjoy, even if you are not sappy woman.
Yeah, I think it's cute too. It is fun. It is just storytelling. Fun time.
Yes.
Doesn't matter which gender you are. Yes. Okay, that makes me feel validated. I felt like at first, you know, having written this story, like, is it just like wishful thinking or like being too, I don't know, like, yeah. But I'm glad that you are approving of it. That makes me feel more valid.
What do you mean wishful thinking? Like with the coupley thing, or what?
Sure, yeah, I don't know. Just like I didn't know if I
Oh.
was doing justice to the, you know, gender dynamics or, you know, conversations or all that.
Well, that's pretty much exactly how I do things, so.
Yay, cool.
It makes me feel valid that you don't think that that is cringe.
I mean, I'm feeling a little bit exposed, like, oh no, this thing that I made is out there for people to potentially not like or think is dumb, but yeah, I'm glad that you're not thinking it is cringe. So because neither of us think it's cringe, therefore it is not totally. I mean, maybe it still
'Cause we
is,
are
but
deciders of everything.
yes. But at least we can encourage each other. Vertex says, I think it's great that you are not only willing to write a story, but also review it on stream. I've wanted to do that for so long, but was scared it would suck. Hey, did you see the streams a couple years ago? We read a story that I wrote when I was 11. It did suck. It was the worst thing ever, but it was so
But it was
funny to
so bad.
review.
It was good.
It
It was
was
amazing.
amazing. So much fun. But yeah, it was like a full 300-page novel or something, and oh boy, it was bad. Just holy how you couldn't believe how bad it was. But it was really funny to make fun of.
Abdab says, I'm wearing my blurry face shirt as well, McKay. You have good taste, lol. Thank you. I have had a couple people comment on it so far.
Mm.
Silver says, I was gonna ask McKay if she's okay because of all the murderous toxic relationships, but then I thought, wait, I think I can answer that myself. Well, hey, there's a difference between murderous and toxic, okay? Because you can
Mm.
try to murder someone without being toxic. Because, like, if, like, Saphira thought he was doing something bad, so she tried to murder him, but then she's realizing that, like, oh, maybe he's not a bad guy. So that's not being toxic, because being toxic would be, like, if you already knew the person, you try to murder them anyway. But it's okay to try to murder someone if you don't know them yet.
Oh my
Like,
gosh. Life lessons with
I
Kalila.
kid, I kid.
Oh boy. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
toxic
like
comes later.
toxic relationships. Oh, toxic comes later.
I'm
What?
joking. That's for the next story. That's the next arc. Oh boy. I've had too much trauma, can you tell? Gotta project it somewhere. Uh, anyway, sorry, I wasn't trying to undercut Vertex. I'm sure your story would be great to review. I'm just saying that my own story was bad, and I still made fun of it, and it was a great time to review anyway. So yeah, I would love to see your story someday if you ever make it. That's cool. But yeah, we just kind of do it for the fun of it, because the reason I write things is to share them with others. So may as well do it.
I will have to look through my stories and see if there's anything that I would be willing to share on stream, because some of it might be too cringe and some of it
Mm,
might be too, like,
but that's the
boring.
juicy stuff.
I know, I just have to decide if I want to expose myself that hard. Well, I'll see what I have. I'll decide.
Mm.
Um, Swagger says, the story is actually great, but at the same time, the other thing we have to compare your writing is, oh dear lord, no.
Yeah.
Great. Silver says, EJ's honestly reminding me why I like to write so much. I love reading other people's stuff. Aw, that's cute.
Aw.
I want to write more, but I just never have, like, ideas for, like, as I said, anything that's very long. It's always just, like, short things, and that feels less valid to write for some reason, but I don't
It's
know.
not as cringe as my love life, lol. Same, bro. Yeah. I don't even have one right now. Time travel
How long
really
did it take to
inspires.
read? Ethan's 11-year-old novel took so long, like so many weeks of streams to read. It was great
Yeah, I
though.
think it took 9 streams, or maybe 11. I think 9, I want to say, but each of those streams was like 5 hours or something. So that's 9 times. It was
Yeah.
like 40 hours or something. It was like a full work week of just reading our story, like
Uh-huh.
my 11-year-old's work. So, on one hand, congrats, self. And that wasn't even all the writing I did. I did more than that because that was book
True.
1 of 3. We
Are
didn't
you
get to the
confused?
second or third. Huh?
Are
Yeah,
you confused?
yeah,
Good.
but we decided, or I decided more or less, that second one wasn't worth reading because it was just more of the same, and we were kind of fatigued at that point. Maybe we will go back and read some more of that at some point, but not right now. Not right now.
Tiger says
um,
the main thing I remember from Super EJ is how y'all started going, oh no 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 no, when Johan was transferred to
oh
Germany during
no!
her dad's
Oh no!
streams for 10 to 13-year-olds.
Oh boy!
That was that was a yikes.
Yikes! Yeah, I made some questionable choices. Yikes!
Silver Star says Theory Part 2
Red
Cat and
ain't a
Quack Quack
color.
Chicken Nugget Bing Bong are both girls. I forgot that I named unnamed person in our Slug Terra video because remember we couldn't use their names. I named her Quack Quack Chicken Nugget Bing Bong. I forgot that
Oh!
I did that. Don't name. Yeah, their mom didn't want their names or faces, so I had to change it to Quack Quack Chicken Nugget Bing Bong. Thank you for reminding me.
That's
I completely
great.
forgot about that.
And yet Seb is now showing himself, so
True.
yeah. It was Seb. I exposed him. There we go.
Seb wasn't Quack Quack Chicken Nugget Bing Bong.
No,
Seb
he was
was
the other guy.
the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting motivation is so hard when you're neurodivergent. Yeah, you're right. I have
True.
PTSD, so I get it.
You mean? Yeah, I understand.
It's
I'm
a
funny. You're
reference.
funny.
Haha.
All funny.
Vertex
The
says,
Silver Star says,
"Hey, if
"Is
I wanted
that
to read this on my spare time, how could I find it? If that's okay." And by the way, thanks. I just started. It's called The Tie. Cool. You can find it by either copying and typing this link manually, like a person who's very OCD and meticulous, or on my YouTube channel here. This is how I got to it. I just clicked this little link here on my YouTube channel, the little W, to get to Wattpad, and it shows my profile. And I only have one thing that I wrote so far on this website. So yeah,
same?
here it is.
I
Ta-da!
just have this
Escape from White
story.
Stone Hold, and you can click the read button, and then bada bing, there's chapter 1. Yay, good stuff. We're on chapter 2 now, though. We just
We
finished
should
chapter
read the
2.
Kyle story and then talk about what plans we actually had, because I'm never gonna finish writing that.
Yes, yes. It involved Infinity Stones and
Ah,
killing Shira characters or something. I don't remember. It's kind of been too
it
long.
came full circle and it was
Yeah,
great, but I'm
it
never
was a
gonna get
great
there.
arc that we had planned. It was like gonna build up some emotional trauma and, but we never got around to it. And I wasn't even really involved. It was just McKay, but I was helping give ideas. Um, anyway.
Silver says, I made the PTSD joke earlier, no one saw.
I know
Oh
I did see it.
no,
I
who
read it.
saw
I
it?
remember. I acknowledge it. You are valid. Yes, I
You're
do.
talking about how
I do
there's
mean
Silver Eyed
ADHD.
in the chat and then the Silver Star, which is funny because Silver used to be a star and now there's the
Yeah,
Silver
that's
Star,
why
so
I'm
they
so
are different.
confused. That's why I've been so confused whenever I read you guys' usernames and I can't remember who's who. I keep
Well,
getting confused, honestly. Which one is which? Silver-eyed is Silver, right? The one that we've talked to.
yes,
And
because
it's,
that's a Ruby thing, being Silver Eyed. So that's how you know.
if you say so,
You
I
have
haven't
Silver
seen enough
Eyes,
of that.
can you can go Avatar state on people.
Avatar State. Yep, yep.
Exactly. We talking about the Kyle Chronicles? Yes, the Kyle Chronicles, which I will never finish, but we had beautiful ideas for it.
Mm-hmm. So many ideas for things that'll never be. That made me think of another thing. I wanted to show off this. We won't get to this stream, or probably any stream for a while. But I had some ideas for like old Minecraft animations, and I still have notes for them. Like this whole long arc with like many years of life that I wanted to describe for this character, this guy who's my profile picture, because I just made when I had a Minecraft character a long time ago. I just I had a Minecraft skin that was made by someone else on the internet, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna be like a YouTuber and have my own, brand and start doing things, it's kind of weird that I just have some other random person's skin that I found on the internet. Let me make my own Minecraft skin. So I just kind of whipped something together, made it from scratch, built my own thing, and gave him like this cyborgy kind of metal face with like redstone embedded in his body. And I was like, okay, well, I've made a skin. That's kind of cool. Now I need to come up with a little bit of backstory as to why he's like this. So I made up just some very basic, he had accidents with, redstone. But it led to this, like, long story in the background with an arc. And I was going to make these Minecraft animations that were, like, walking through the story of how he became the way he was and, like, showing off some of his life. Never got around to it, but it was a kind of cool story. But that's why I never talked about this character's story, because I was going to like show it. And obviously, I never got around to doing all the intense work that it would take to make such like well-crafted animations. But I want to someday show off in the same way that I'm showing off these pieces of work. I want to show off like the notes I had and talk about the ideas and maybe give some like very rough kind of like drawings of like, oh, I wanted this shot and this, and just kind of talk about the lore. Just like a very low budget, bare minimum effort kind of turn in the assignment just before midnight, rendition of the story just for funsies, because that's another window into another thing, and that would be a good closing chapter for using this profile picture for my YouTube channel and my uh, Discord and my everything, because for so long I've had this like image as my logo for all of my social medias and everything, and yet nobody knew really why it was. And I never told anyone like the story behind it, so I thought it would be interesting. But now it doesn't really have any meaning to me anymore since I've kind of lost interest in this character in that story. I'm never going to make the actual works of art that tell his story, and I don't. It's not really special to me anymore. I don't even do Minecraft, so I want to put something else as my profile at this point. I don't know what. Maybe Malthus, because that's a character that I care more about. But everyone's gonna accuse me of being a freaking furry or something. Anyway, I'm
No,
rambling
I
way too
want you
much.
to embrace the character because it makes me feel better about my
Okay, I mean, I
characters.
do like the character. The only problem, like, it's not even. I just made a character, and I like the character because of their characterness. Like, who they are is what makes me like them, and the family they have, because that's like essential to the character. But then, Shroomy always made me feel so bad about it because he was always like, grumble, 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 you're a scaly, etc. And I'm like, bruh, stop! I am not Denisi, just because I.
Oh,
So, yeah. So I always got like really
it's okay.
self-conscious
I
and annoyed
cringe
about it.
too with my little Marvel stories.
Anyway, well, I mean, am I a furry because I like these characters that happen to be that way? I don't know. I don't know what the definitions are. I don't
I
care.
think being a furry is like,
Wearing
liking
a
them
fursuit,
because
yeah,
they're
I'm not gonna do
animals.
that, but yeah. What did you say last part? I did not.
I said I think being a furry is liking them because they're animals, not because you like
Oh.
their dynamic, regardless of if they're animals or not. I don't know. What do I know about furries? Not much.
Interesting. Anyway, sorry, I have like saliva bubbles built up in my throat now. I'm frothing at the mouth from having pronounced so many words so quickly. I was like going at Mach 12 as fast as I possibly
Oh
could
my
to get it out of my
goodness.
face.
Uh-oh.
Anyway,
Okay,
if
I
you
have to
wonder
stop.
why I suddenly changed my profile picture someday to no longer be a fish or a upside down Maklela or a whatever.
So, tell you something.
What?
So, look in the chat, Silver says there's an entire race of furries in Ruby, so you're fine. So, okay, Silver. So, Shroomy and I, in the group chat, like several weeks ago, we were talking about, I think, cat girls or something, and we were talking about like where the line of like too much of a cat girl is. He doesn't like them to have like fur on their faces or anything, but he likes like tails and ears. And so I sent him a picture of Blake because I was like, "Oh, is she a good cat girl?" And he said that she was cute, and I was like, "Oh, so you like the Ruby cat girl?" And then I sent him a picture of Velvet as well. And he liked her as well. And so I was like, oh, Shroomy likes Ruby. So now you can tease him about that he likes the animal girls from Ruby.
That's so funny. I forgot that we were. He was like, I hate furries so much, but then, oh, cat girl with ears is cute. I'm like, wait, what? So how could you say these two things? So like, trying to quiz him about exactly where the line was. It was funny.
Yeah, the line is somewhere between Blake from Ruby and Hermione from Harry Potter. Somewhere in there is the line.
I almost drowned. Stop. Yeah, Hermione from Harry Potter was terrifying to look at, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
She wasn't even a good
Silver,
example of like that level of fur.
she was something else.
Mm.
Silver says, haha, exposed! I'm so going to bully him next time. Do
Poor
it, you won't.
Shroomy. Oh no. It's funny how we're accusing him of being a furry now when a couple of years ago he played as a Khajiit in Skyrim. I know, Shroomy made fun of me for that too, and I'm like, bruh, entirely different species, entirely different character. I just chose it because I liked doing the voice.
Shroomy's just projecting.
And they also got annoyed at me for doing the voice, or people in general did, so I stopped doing the voice at some point.
What was the voice again? It
The,
was like...
the Khajiit are talking like this. We are from elsewhere. Apparently everyone from there has an accent like this. Huh?
What accent even is that? Is it like...
It's
I don't
kind
know.
of like vaguely Russian. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Or
like
like,
vaguely Russian, but not quite.
I don't know. It's some kind of like European-ish type accent. Ow, my knees.
Don't
Die.
die.
Both my legs fell asleep because I was torturing my kneecaps. Khajiit has wares if you have coin. Exactly, yeah. It's a fun voice to do. It's a fun voice. And so I like to play characters that are completely different from each other. Like in D&D, my first character that I ever played was, different from my real self in the sense that my first D&D character was a stupid, very, very dumb, super strong barbarian man with like half orc tusks, and he was just like rage incarnate, and he just was like, I will smash whatever I want, blah, violence, blah. So it was fun to kind of explore and embody a completely different perspective and character than my own self, and like live and walk a mile in someone else's shoes. And then the next character I played was Malthius. I wanted to be exactly as far as opposite as that as possible, so I was like the loving pacifist father kind of figure. Um, and then the next character after that, I don't remember which character came next in the order, but I ended up playing a little like 11-year-old girl and played that character for a while. So I enjoy exploring and embodying all different kinds of people and races and everything as far possible as different as can be. So I've been half orcs, I've been Khajiit, I've been Dragonborn, I've been lizard folk, I've been I enjoy picking and choosing and trying to get as far removed from anything I've been before as much as I can. I'm going to play a robot in the next thing with McKay, which I don't know if I should talk about yet, but
The super secret, oh so secret D&D.
yes, super super so secret. Maybe we'll stream that when it happens. Should be fun. Yeah. Anyway, so I enjoy experiencing new perspectives as much as I can, and being a different type of creature or race or whatever gives me that opportunity. So of course, if I see a new one that I've never tried, I'm gonna try it, or at least that's how I feel. I don't know. And I hadn't like that was the most unique option, because otherwise in Skyrim there's just like human, human, human but uglier, human but redder, human but whiter, human but yellower, all these different like human types, and then a fancy one, let's do that one. And then the Argonians were really ugly. I didn't like that. Granted, in VR you don't even see your character that much, but whatever. Wow, I can't believe EJ was secretly Cat's reptilian family all along. I know.
True.
Yeah, I'm just secretly trying to woo her from the background. Subliminal messaging. I've never played D&D, but that all sounds super fun. I love D&D, probably more than I should, but yeah, I enjoy storytelling in general, and D&D is a good way to do that. It's a quicker way to do it than having to actually write a full-fledged story. Doing it with other people also gives it more people coming together and making it more creative and wackier than you could ever expect. So, yeah.
I don't like D&D, but I'm gonna try to be a DM because I would probably like that better.
I hope it goes well. But if you need to cancel it halfway through because you're not enjoying it, just feel free. EJ,
Okay.
did you watch all of
I just,
TCW? I don't even know what TCW stands for. It probably more sense if Khajiit had
I
less
neither.
of a European, because elsewhere is a desert, so maybe more Middle Eastern. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. But it doesn't sound like the accents that Middle Easterners in real life have. So that's just what we were trying to describe. I don't know. I don't mean your voice in particular, just mean the Elder Scrolls universe in general in regards to Kishi accent. Yeah, I got you. Um,
Silver was
it's a
remembering
bit
Tat's
Spanish. Yeah, fair enough. Tat! Yes, Tat, the 11-year-old.
name.
She was a great character to play. Got a little one note
Silver says,
after a
"Hey,
while
I'm
though.
valid to bully him because he bullies me for my Ruby obsession." So, yeah, he bullied me for my Loki
He
obsession.
bullied
He
me for being
stole
furry even though I was scaly. Get it right, Dad. Oh, did you freeze?
in Loki, which isn't very often. He's like, "Oh, Loki obsession." I'm like, "I am so far out of my Loki phase. What do you mean?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very glad that another phase has not replaced that because we don't need another phase. I would go from phase to phase, and I'm not in one right now, and I'm very glad about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gasp! That's why Sherby likes cat. What?
I read that and I knew what it was in reference to, but now I forgot.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Clone Wars. That's what TCW is.
Oh. Uh, what was the question? Oh, did I
Did
watch
you
all
watch
of it?
all of it?
I think so. Gonna be honest, I think for some parts of it, I just had it on in the background while I was doing other things, so I might have like not seen the visuals, but I heard the story. So yes, I've watched it, but with an asterisk. I've watched all of it, most of it. I don't know, as much of it as I knew. was available
I keep
easily.
starting it and then not continuing it, but I need to
Oof.
at some point.
Yeah, I like it. It's good.
I've just been really into like darker stuff lately, so like
Oh,
cartoons just aren't hitting at the moment. So
yeah, you like
they
watching
will
Jessica
someday though.
Jones get absolutely tortured emotionally and all that.
Precisely. You see?
Yeesh.
I've
Yikes.
watched Jessica Jones twice because I love pain.
Oh. Yikes.
She's just kind of relatable, you know?
Pain. I love it. The Clone Wars can be overrated, but the final arc was great. Honestly, I haven't seen all the in-between eps myself. I'm pretty sure I saw them all, and they were all good or mostly good. The ones I can remember were good. I guess the ones that I don't remember weren't memorable, therefore they weren't as good. But you know, I thought it was good overall. If you're into darker
Same way,
stuff, check
I
out these.
sincerely doubt that Merlin would be that dark, I'm just saying. Because I had a friend who watched that when she was like 13 in ninth grade, so. I mean, it still might be enjoyable, but. And I've heard of it a lot, but I doubt that it would be qualified as dark.
Darker pain, man. There's some shows that do that marvelously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hooked on Jessica Jones from episode 1 because I was like, oh, look at all that PTSD. I love it.
You mean ADHD?
Yeah,
Sorry.
all her ADHD.
5-star accommodations.
Made a noise.
I did. I made an old man noise.
You are such a man.
Thank you.
Tee. What do you mean by darker? What do I mean? Like absolutely horrible, unspeakable things happening to characters.
Oh dear.
Hee.
I am a potato.
Well, do you want to be thrown at someone's head then?
No. You want to get back to reading or
What time
continue?
do you need to be sleepy?
That's a good point. How about one more chapter at least, because this one's really short if I remember correctly.
Okay, but can I do the thing that I had all day to do first?
Pee?
Yes.
Okay. Only if I can pee after.
What? You already had your pee break.
But I drank more, and then almost died
That's
because you made
you're
me laugh
drinking your
during
brains out?
drinking my brains out.
Your brains out? Okay, I'll be right back.
You should play Fear and Hooger then. It is brutal, huh? Have you tried spinning around the room from a fan if you are a potato? No, I have not done so. I'm pretty sure I'm too big a potato for that. A potato broke down my ceiling before you came. Oh dear. Good thing I'm not Samwise Gamgee or EJ. You might be boiled mash stuck in a stew. Clap and a half for that reference. Oh yeah, no worries, Vertex. I get it. I just like to read typos exactly as they are because it's funnier that way. I'm not trying to judge. The Silver Star says the Bad Batch kind of continues the legacy of the Clone Wars, and I think I love it more. That's what my profile picture's from. Cool. I can't see the profile picture from the restream chat that I'm looking at because it only shows me like if it's from YouTube or from Twitch. But that's really cool. I have seen the Bad Batch too, and it does kind of carry the same legacy, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of the episodes are kind of disjointed and not as like contributing to an overall narrative or whole that well sometimes. So it does kind of feel like it's a lot of filler, in my opinion, sometimes. So kind of like I'm wondering when are we gonna get somewhere? When are we gonna do something? So in that sense, I don't like some of the Bad Batch episodes very much. Individually, yeah, they're okay, but I feel like some of that like intensity and drive has kind of been lost a little bit. EJ, have you seen Star Wars Rebels? I did see that. I didn't like it as much as the Clone Wars, personally. I don't remember all that much from it either. but I think I watched that after Clone Wars. Yeah. What is your honest opinion
Oh,
about
God,
me
look at
getting Sea of Thieves? Maybe I haven't decided. Silver? Yeah, I would play with you if you had it. That would be fun. You, me, Shroomy, we could sail the seas, go do some things. It would be great. Do it if you want
that.
to.
Go do some
Don't do it if you
things.
don't want to. I don't know. I think it's a good game. Although, just be prepared to sink, because, you know, PvP is definitely a big part of the game. And even if you're, like, minding your own business, you still could get attacked. But if you just go into it with a mindset of, oh, I might lose everything, but if I do get it, then yeah, cool. Um, but ultimately, I don't even play for loot anymore. I don't play for the money. I just play for the experience, because people are what make it an interesting game to keep coming back to. Oh, nice! Welcome back, Abdab. I'm glad you got a chance to read some of the Bible.
Are you
Uh,
reading in the Bible? What book is your
oh,
favorite?
let me go pee
That
while
is the
you're
question of the
keeping
day.
up with chat.
Okay. I am reading Romans right now, but also First John. Um, Vertex says this is an odd recommendation, but based on the darker desire you present, I thought I'd toss around The Secret in Their Eyes. The Secret in Their Eyes, the Argentinian movie. I have never heard of that. Interesting. Um, I can't comment on the Bad Batch because I haven't seen that either. There's so many Star Wars shows, and I'm just a little overwhelmed. But I think someday I will get to them. Yeah. I'm not a gamer, so I don't know what fear and hunger is really, but it sure sounds like you're afraid and also hungry. I burped. Also, it's lightninging outside, but it's like not raining, so that's cool. Um, Stella says, "Have you read any of the Dragon Prince short stories on their website?" I read the ones that came out before season 4, because I was trying to like catch up on things. But if they've posted more, I have not in fact read them. Watch Star Wars Rebels. Seb is in it. Oh, is there a big nose or something? Hello, welcome back.
Hello. How's it going? Uh,
Someone said that Seb is in Star Wars Rebels. Do you know what that means?
I did finish season 2, and I still say the same thing to your face. I'm sorry.
Oh,
What did you
wrecked.
say, sis? Were you trying to tell me about that?
Samwise said, watch Star Wars Rebels. Seb is in
Oh.
it. So what does that mean? Is there
I
a Seb?
don't know. Can't remember anyone with a particularly large snoz. Maybe Caleb? I don't know. Is that his name? I don't know. Secret in Their Eyes, great movie. It won Best International in 2009.
Hmm.
Huh.
Well, that's probably why I wouldn't know, because I was like 9 years old at the time.
Oh yes, must be careful not to stream the inappropriate if possible.
Inappropriate Latish.
Okay.
E.
E. Would you like me to begin the reading, or do we have more to do?
Or do we what?
What? Season 5 Dragon Prince coming out July 28th? Is
I
that
told you that.
correct? I
I
forgot
think so.
when. Man, that's like a
Because I
month.
told you that it was
That's
coming out
crazy.
this summer, and I was like, we just finished with the other season, and now there's gonna be another one.
Absolutely crazy. They were waiting for us. That's what they were waiting for. They were like, oh, as soon as they finish, boom, next season coming out. Get on it,
Oh
sibling
boy.
sassing.
Heck.
Yeah. Sophia hazily, sorry, I messed up on the second word. Sophia hazily
Nice.
awoke to hear the resumed sounds of a crying baby. She blinked against the sunlight streaming in the window. It was late morning, judging by the angle of the light from the barred window. She was laying on her back on a wooden cot, with the same furry, stinky, crying baby lying on her chest. And they were alone in a jail cell, complete with all the cliché bells and whistles. Typical stone walls, dank cobblestone floor, iron bars on the door and window. Everything she could have asked for to make this nightmare, or make a nightmare come true. Sophia groggily reached for the back of her aching head, feeling the tender lump from where she'd been struck. No blood. She sat up and cuddled the child, trying to adjust herself to her surroundings. Her arm still hurt as well, unsurprisingly, but it was a minor. Oh, but it was.
It was a
It
minor.
was not a minor, but it was minor,
I
and
have
she was
minor,
able
more
to.
like.
Oh no. But it was minor, and she was able to move and look around without any trouble. Outside the window, or outside the door, there seemed to simply be a hallway of other cells. No guards anywhere to be seen. No one at all, in fact. She stood, trying to see out the window, only to see an opposing building and not much else. The baby continued screaming like his life depended on it, wailing louder and louder every second it seemed. Saphira sat back down, trying to bounce him up and down on her lap.
They could have at least changed him before throwing an infant in prison, she grumbled inwardly,
They
looking
have
around for any
no
food or
chill.
water.
Absolutely none.
Ah, there was none. Really? This poor child is dying of thirst, she sighed, feeling pretty thirsty herself. And hungry, of course, but she'd gotten used to that
Eat
long
the
haul living with
child.
bears. No.
uh,
Hey! She called out loudly, hoping to draw attention of a guard. There was no response. Hey! She yelled still louder, me trying not to yell because it's 10 p.m. Adding a bit of thundering about what? Adding a bit of her thundering dragonborn roar.
I
Her call echoed
advanced
throughout the
placement
empty halls.
time. AP time.
I'm on AP time. Avians are there regular time. Her call echoed throughout the empty halls, but still got no response, aside from the child in her lap quieting down for a moment in sheer terror. Oh no.
Oh.
Saphira apologized softly to the small one, rocking him back and forth and trying to calm him. He immediately began crying again. She sighed and rolled her eyes, standing and beginning to pace around the room while rocking him in her arms. Maybe the refugee camp wouldn't have been so bad after all. There was nothing in the room but the bed, not so much as a fork or a bedpan to be seen, nothing to bang on the cell doors or make a loud noise, and nothing to use for an escape attempt. Even if she did escape, this place was probably crawling with guards. What am I gonna do with you, huh? She asked, looking down at the screaming poop machine. You? Why did they even bother leaving you with me if they didn't leave me anything to take care of you? There was no response except for the continued wails of the infant in her arms as she walked around her teeny, featureless cell. She sighed, craning her neck to look further down the hall outside her cell. It was devoid of all signs of life. Saphira grumbled to herself, trying to decide what to do. At least the magistrate didn't know my name, so if I manage to get out of here, I guess I'm not likely to be tracked down or pinned with some criminal record. Seems like Malthus might not be so lucky, though, assuming they don't simply execute him. Saphira almost felt bad for felt bad that Malthus had gotten captured for trying to help. It seemed like he had been genuinely trying to do what he thought was right. Maybe he still was an idiot, but a nice idiot. No way this good-hearted pacifist was the son of the most fearsome draconic terror in the realm, at least. Then again, he did mention his father having a jetpack. Saphira stopped in her tracks and nearly dropped the baby, struck with a shocking realization. Holy cow, is that random coward actually the son of Drogo's flame terror, scourge of the skies and bane of 100 towns? She blinked, trying to understand. Why on earth did Malthus not obliterate the guards that stood in his way if he truly was the son of such a powerful dragon? Why would anyone, no matter how foolish, allow themselves to be captured instead of fighting back? Is being hanged or rotting in prison ever preferable to dying with a blade in your hand? Yet now that was her fate, and she'd likely never again see the fool who had landed her there. Saphira let out a grunt of anger, kicking the barred door to test its strength. The door was strong, cast out of one massive piece of solid iron attached to the wall with 3 large hinges. The lock seemed sturdy, too complex to pick, and too well made to be forced open. Her kick bounced off the door ineffectually, hurting her foot more than the door. Similarly, the bars in the window seemed firmly set in their foundation with no sign of weakness, and no stones in the wall seemed loose. The prison was well maintained and built to last. Saphira continued trying to calm the child, though disheartened by her lack of autonomy. The baby, meanwhile, seemed to be growing desperate, shrieking more urgently. It really seemed like the poor child was suffering from dire needs rather than simply crying from sadness. Saphira drooped in exasperated defeat, powerless to help him. Please, God, anyone! Saphira cried out again, hoping for some salvation. Her call echoed weakly down the hall and faded away once more. No response. Saphira sat the baby down on the bench behind her for a moment, contemplating her next action. She eyed the hinges of the door, of the equals iron door.
Where'd that come from? Some kind of formatting issue, maybe? I don't know.
I love equals iron doors,
I love them.
which were held in place by the sheer weight of the door. She studied the lock, wondering if it could possibly be melted. She shot back another hesitant look to the needy child, then planted her feet, once again calling forth the lightning from deep within her, rattling her bones and stinging her throat as the sparks began dancing along her lips. I sure hope this works, she breathed, opening her jaw and unleashing a powerful arc of lightning, which split through the air with a crack of thunder and a blast of bright light. The steam of sparking electricity hit the door's lock squarely in the center, starting to heat it up a little as small bolts, not boats, flashed around,
Whales?
streaking anything nearby. After several seconds, the lock began to glow orange from the intense focus of energy, but it was too little too late. Saphira strained, continuing to shoot the lightning for as long as she could, but she was already running out and she could feel her strength waning as she pushed herself past the limit. Saphira finally collapsed to her knees with a gasp as the final sparks arced off the metal door to the ground below and the thunderous cracks faded away. She felt a bit lightheaded, having forced herself to keep up the beam longer than she was comfortably able to. I guess I overdid it a little. She looked up, breathing raggedly, only to see the red glow of the lock already fading. No! Saphira grunted, leaping shakily to her feet and planting another solid kick upon the center of the red-hot lock. The door clanged and jiggled slightly, but did not give. Simultaneously, the bottom of Saphira's foot exploded in pain, feeling like she'd been stung by a hornet. I weirdly remember that part. She yelped in pain, falling back to the stone floor and holding her bare dragon foot. The air smelled like ozone and the hint of burning flesh, betraying her mistake. Saphira cringed, peeking at the bottom of her tender foot to find a sizable burn the shape of the lock, complete with a small unburned patch in the shape of the keyhole. She clenched her toes against
That's one
the
way to
pain,
get a
trying to
tattoo.
resist the urge to curse. Well, that's what I get for going barefoot, she grumbled, grinding her teeth together to bite back the urge to scream. Do you want to be the woman?
Quiet down that voice before I quiet it for you! A woman's voice suddenly shrieked from somewhere outside of the cell. Saphira crawled back to the door excitedly, looking for the source of the sound. The hall of cells was still empty, and there was no one in sight. The baby continued crying on the bench beside her. If you don't make that kid shut up, I'm gonna make him wish he was never born! The voice threatened.
I'm trying! He needs something to drink, Saphira cried, still trying to place the source of the noise.
Well then feed your stupid child and let me sleep! The voice snapped back, sounding like it was from a nearby cell. Saphira's face fell as she realized there was still no guard to ask for help.
I can't, I don't have anything to give him, Saphira yelled back, looking back annoyedly at the smelly, noisy, furry creature still flailing his arms weakly. Trust me, I want him to be quiet as much as you do.
What do you mean? You don't have anything to give him! Can't you...
He's not my kid, okay? I got stuck taking care of him. Saphira cut her off, plopping onto her bottom to avoid painfully kneeling on the stone floor. The screaming seemed to be getting quieter from sheer exhaustion as the baby slowly lost strength.
Well, bang his head against the wall and be done with it then! The woman shrieked back.
Jeez.
Saphira frowned, looking back at the baby. Had that woman just asked her to kill a child? I will kill a child. Sorry. She scooted closer to study the tiny creature, looking at his tiny hands, cute furry face, and blue cat-like eyes. She could never dream of hurting the little guy, no matter how deafening he was. Saphira shook her head in surprised disappointment, not even bothering to respond to such a horrid suggestion. Naturally, Saphira's silence led to her fellow prisoner continuing to hurl a stream of colorful insults and threats, but Saphira simply tuned it out, along with the crying and continued smells of messy small one, burned foot, and electrified air. Saphira pulled herself back up onto the bench, carefully trying to rest her burned foot on the cool stone floor, flinching as she tried. It almost felt like the burn was still occurring every time her foot touched something. But she simply set her jaw and gathered up the child in her arms to try to rock him to sleep until a guard came by. The lock had cooled again, the woman had given up yelling, and all she could do was wait, praying something would change soon. She leaned her head back, feeling a little queasy from overexerting her lightning breath. She smacked her lips bitterly, savoring the odd aftertaste that lightning always left behind. She loved breathing lightning and directing the incredible power of the sky itself, but after her lightning was used, she always felt empty and inside and defenseless, as though her final line of defense, the skill closest to who she was, had been spent. The emptiness from lack of lightning only served to accentuate her immense hunger as well, creating yet another sharp pain in her abdomen, throbbing with every heartbeat. The baby finally quieted down, and Saphira tried to quiet her mind and block out her pains. She sighed, closing her eyes and leaning her head against the stone wall. What more could she do? Saphira allowed her stewing thoughts to return to Malthius, the living enigma. He had said he wanted to stop the fighting, and yet when she had found him, he had been fighting his hardest. Granted, it had been to keep the magistrate and citizens from hurting each other. He sought peace between the two armies, apparently, but what point is there in stopping a skirmish that will only resume another day without changing anything? Surely he wasn't naive enough to think there could be true peace after this war between the magistrate and free people of the realm had been persisting for so many decades. War was just the way of the world now. Even peaceful towns were poisoned by the fear lurking beneath the surface. You kept your head down, looked out for yourself, and stayed alive, hoping the watchful eyes of the magistrate guards didn't linger on you too long. What peace could there be between hunters and prey? Why would there be mercy to spare the iron fist of oppression? what humanity could be left in the hearts of slave masters. The baby cried out again, causing Saphira to startle and look down. It was hard to tell how long he would be able to survive without food or water. There was no telling how long the child had already been alone before she and Malthus had even rescued the child from the collapsed house. And of course, with a dead elf in that house, there was no guarantee this child still had living parents that would be able to take care of him. Saphira frowned sympathetically, I almost said symptomatically, looking down at the young creature. She couldn't help but feel pity for the defenseless child.
Well, if I'm going to be looking after you for a while, you need a name, Saphira whispered quietly to the furry face with sleepy eyes. She thought for a moment, pursing her lips. Rowan. How about that? She asked, rocking him gently. The exhausted baby finally fell asleep again at these words, leaving Saphira to decide. Rowan it is, then. She smiled, leaning her head back against the wall again, trying to rest as well.
Well, that was a
Wow, we even have
depressing
the same
chapter.
taste in names. I've named a couple characters Rowan.
Whoa! Twinsies!
It's a good name.
Wow. I was gonna say, it's almost like we've been raised in the same house or whatever, but that has nothing to do with our
With our
taste in
names.
names. I don't think I've ever even heard that name until, like, recently-ish. Well, no. There was one book that I read as a child that had that name. That was the only introduction I had to that name before that. Sorry,
What
we've
names
missed
do you like
a lot of
nowadays?
chat.
I wonder if they're the same.
Hmm?
What names do you like nowadays?
What do you mean?
Like, what names do you like? For characters, or for kids, or for whatever?
I've never thought about it. I would
Okay.
need to start thinking about it to have an answer to that question. Let's see. Oh, we had a lot of chat that we missed, I think. Have y'all watched BCC Merlin? Is Ezra Seb? What?
I have not watched Merlin. I've heard of it a lot, but I have not watched it.
I haven't even heard of it. Grandma said she once preferred Legend of Korra over Avatar. She's a devoted Christian, yet she acts so blasphemous. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
How dare she? Yeah, it's the last two seasons of Legend of Korra. Eh.
The first season was pretty okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Still
BBC Merlin
scrolling.
is amazing. 10 out of 5 stars.
Haha. That's some high praise. Sparks are flying! Something about soon. The story is actually pretty good, not gonna lie. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I feel so validated. This is always like a guilty pleasure story. Like, should I have even worked
Aw.
on this? Because, like, it's just kind of like extra to the D&D that I was doing. So I'm like, I'm kind of taking the reins and doing my own thing with these characters. Just because I liked them and wanted to explore more about them. And then everyone was like judging me about like, you know, playing the character in general. So
I told you it was good back in the day.
yay, thank you. Yeah, because like even what the dungeon master of the game had another friend who was helping him to like put stats into the game sometimes, and that person was like, "Bro, why are you spending so much time like trying to interact with your family or whatever? Just go fight things, go do adventuring stuff. You're not being a real D&D player." And I'm like, "Bro, okay, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to disrupt everything or ruin everyone else's fun. I just try to be my character. Leave me alone." Yeah.
What a loser.
That's an amazing step impression.
Silver says, I have something to report. I
Oh
was lying in
boy!
bed taking a break from sitting at the computer, and it's just silent, and all of a sudden I hear an EJ sounding like an old lady. Incoherent yelling noises.
Oh no. I'm so
Oh, Stella
sorry.
says I'm
Oh, yay, I'm glad, thank you. Well, we're not going to be able to finish it tonight, so you'll have to come back next time. I don't know when. We will pick a day. Maybe we'll do it weekly, maybe not, because McKay says she can't do Mondays all the time. But we will try to find some
yeah.
time to do these
Like
streams.
either Monday or Tuesday, because that was our original thought, and we'll just have to see if I'm busy on Mondays or not for the next month, but I don't know for sure yet.
Works for me. And theoretically, we should be able to do this same kind of thing where we stream on both McKay's YouTube channel and my YouTube channel. Once again, sorry Twitch, but I'm kind of ditching Twitch. So, yeah. I don't think we should do another chapter because I think this was the shortest chapter. I think this one was the shortest, and even this one took a little bit of time to get through. So I should probably go to sleep for today because I have work in the morning. But we can do another chapter another day. Thank you all for hanging with us. It's been a good time. I feel validated. I feel happy that my story is appreciated and my characters are lovable and not completely hateable. I mean, Saphira is a little mean so far, but she's had a rough day. It's okay. Leave her alone. She's hungry. She's hangry.
Yeah, having
I think her
having a
family's
family
dead.
die is always a decent excuse to be a jerk for a
Yeah.
little while.
Yeah, for sure. EJ, you are right about Bad Batch, but it is precious to me. Goodbye. Okay.
Hey, I feel that
Yeah.
sometimes you know that a show isn't that good,
Yeah.
but you still just love it for some reason, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's entirely fine to like love something that is objectively horrible. That's fine. I mean, I'm not saying that that's particularly the case here, but like everyone has their own experience with things, and sometimes like it's all about the subjectivity, like what it means to you. Like even a poorly written kind of ass story, if it like strikes your heartstrings in the perfect way because it like resonates with you and like your own life story, it can still bring you to tears. So, you know, art is subjective. That's what it's about. It's about connecting you to others and their stories, not just, you know, being the best, you know, thing that'll be remembered in literary classes for the next 60 years.
Yeah, because all those books you have to read in high school are boring anyway.
Ugh, yes, most of them are.
Yeah.
Go to bed! It's
Yeah.
10 p.m. I know, I'm sorry. Hope you have a great night. I'm looking forward to the next time and happy again to see you. Yeah, thank you so much for coming out. It was really great to see you all. I had fun with this. I hope you did too, sis.
Yeah, it was fun, and I will have to. Obviously, we're gonna need 1 or 2 more streams, or maybe more, to get through this. But I will look through my stuff to see if I have anything.
Well, we got through
of
3
writing.
chapters here out of 15. So
Oh, there's that many.
maybe
Okay.
5 more streams, probably more, because I think the chapters just get longer as you go. Because I'm like, all right, I gotta
boy.
cram the ending in there, and then like I tried to aim for 10 parts, it turned into 15. So whoops. Yeah.
Whoopsie or whatsy.
Yep. And the part of the reason for that is that I put the chapter points at logical places for chapter points instead of just cutting it off at a certain length. Like for this one, she goes to sleep again, so that's a good place to have a fade out section. Therefore, this chapter is like a third as long as some of the other ones, but you know, it's not very good for balancing or like pacing of people trying to read your story. But yeah, it just made sense, so whatever. I can write my story how I want to. Leave me be. Swagger says, this was really fun. This is my first time being active in chat, and man, I had a blast. Oh, yay! Thank you for speaking and for being around. You're great to have around. Love you too, Adab. Abdab. Abdab. Oh, he dabs with his abs. That's so cool. Super EJ.
Whoa, that's a super EJ move.
Bye,
Silver
Seymour.
says, "Bye guys, love you. Hope that's not weird. Bye." It's not weird. It's okay.
Yeah, it's
we love
fine.
You too.
Yep, Christians are known for our love.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. It's only 10 in the afternoon for your time zone. Whoa, cool.
9 in the afternoon. As Andrew Garfield says, "I love you." Did I say Andrew Garfield?
Aardvark, Aardvark.
I'm really struggling with the whole speaking thing today.
Yeah, same though. It's so hard to like read when you're under pressure. Alright, bye. I'm gonna try to finish the dragons in a week. Oh yeah, I forgot your dragons is dragons. That's so cool. I'm so excited. I love dragons now. I think it's probably inspired. Like, I didn't really have a thing for dragons until having this character, but now that I've like poured my heart and soul into these characters, now I like dragons. So, yeah, maybe I am a scaly. Who cares? Bye. God bless you. Need to go now. Actually, there's nothing. I have lost the ability to comprehend things anymore. So, God bless. Have a good night. See you all later. I'm gonna hit the actual button this time.